at a nationwide music festival.
Authorities are investigating whether the incidents involved substance exposure.
Reports from Greece confirm that firefighters are combating a large wildfire on the eastern Aegean island of Chios for the third consecutive day. Joseph Eckerson reports.
Evacuation orders have been issued for residents in several coastal communities.
World leaders have gathered in The Hague, Netherlands, for a pivotal NATO summit aimed at reinforcing alliance unity and discussing increased defense spending.
Delegates are also addressing emerging threats in Eastern Europe and the Middle East.
The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension confirms that 2 state legislators and their spouses were shot in a politically motivated attack on June 14th.
Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband died, while Senator John Hoffman and his wife remain hospitalized.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
We got a cup of coffee here, please.
I'm not going to complain about the lights being a little bright. The lights are a little bright. It's not a complaint. Not exactly a complaint. Not exactly not a complaint either.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
Just testing the old hello. Good morning, you Humpty Hump. I'm Humpty or something. Humpty Hump. I'm the Humpty Hump. It is Wednesday, Humpty Hump Day, June 25th, 2025. So it's a lot of 25s in there, or a lot of 20s, 22, 25 in the year 2020. Whatever. Give me a break. All right? Just give me a break. Anyway, happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. Keeping score at home. A low-level loser who just happened to have top secret clearance leaked a lie. That's the story that the White House is putting out. So let's just take it step by step. Okay? Low-level loser having top secret clearance. Who gave a low-level loser top secret clearance? I think it was actually the Pentagon that released a report that obliterated was kind of an overstatement in regards to Iran's nuclear capabilities. Not just one low-level loser, but who's going to take whose responsibility is it for giving this low-level loser the ability to leak a lie? Now, this is the thing. A lie is not something that you leak truth. You don't lie. You make up a lie. You don't leak it. If they started by saying it was a leak, and they're still saying it was a leak, I got to take a leak. But if it's a lie, then it's not a leak. It's not like letting, let's keep this lie to ourselves. It doesn't make sense. You hear that? That's me over there echoing. No wonder those headphones are too loud. I was like, something's not going on here, and I'm the only one here. Anyway, it's all very, very confusing. Now, Trump is claiming that CNN and the New York Times have teamed up to make him look bad. Listen, you don't have to listen. You don't have to. You don't need help. He looks bad all on his own. It just keeps getting more insane. Every friggin' day is more insane than the last day, and tomorrow will be more insane. And Jon Stewart is giving talks on how to stay positive in times of uncertainty. I don't see. There's no reason to scrap that. There's no reason to stay positive. Just be a doom and gloom guy. Expect the worst, and don't pay your bills. And just don't pay for anything. Stop everything. Don't go to work. Don't pay your bills. Just fuck off, like I do every day. And then you'll be happy, and the world will come to an end. And listen, I've been saying since I was 12 years old or something, it occurred to me that if you die in debt, you win. So just bang out your credit cards, max them out, party like it's 1999, which was not really all that great a year, maybe 2099. But anyway, just max it out. Just spend like crazy. Go fucking nuts. There's no reason to think it's going to get any better. And that's my uplifting message for you this morning. Are you happy? It's not going to get any better. So maybe Stephen can point you to the right bridge. Is that bridge right for you? Ask your wheelchair boy. I don't know. It's not the same as ask your doctor if Viagra is ready for you. Anyway, today we have a guest. We're going to talk about Huey Long, who he's sort of a Democratic Party version of Trump. 90 years ago, he got assassinated. He was a populist guy who told people, yeah, free chicken in every pot, whatever. I think he was accused of rigging elections. He also accused other people of rigging. He had some accusations of corruption. I'm not exactly sure what they were. I know he had something to do with like fake candidates and stuff like that he was putting out. Anyway, he got assassinated for trying to get rid of a corrupt judge by the judge's son. Judge caught him in the hallway of the Senate, and it happens, when you don't expect it. Couple behind the ear, everything goes to black. You don't hear it coming. He should have maxed out his credit cards. That's what I'm saying. We'll talk to an author who's written a book about him, the American populist, Thomas E. Patterson, or as he's known in hip-hop circles, Tep. I don't know if he's really known in hip-hop circles. Or if there's even a circle in hip-hop. I think they use squares or triangles. Anyway, I'm just rambling on here. I'm babbling. Can you tell I'm babbling? Of course you can tell I'm babbling, because I'm in Babylon. I'm in the town of Babylon. Babylon, Long Island. I'm not really in the town of Babylon. I'm lying about that. Can I fucking tell the truth about anything? I don't think so. Here's a commercial for you while I figure out where my head is at. I don't think we sold a single. You people let me down. You let me down. She comes without a head, but at least she'll never shit the bed. You need a fake rubber squeeze. Be like Stephen Ortiz. You need a fake rubber squeeze. Get your 10%. Like Stephen Ortiz. He goes to Tantalene. He goes to Tantalene. He goes to Tantalene. He goes to Tantalene. I'm trying to figure out what it says on his hat there. Ha ha Oh, ha ha ha! It's backwards. I get it. It was ah ha ha, like take on me. Anyway, right now in the room with me, Mr. Take on Me,
Cancel yours.
huh? What?
Cancel yours.
Stephen the Bridge Finder. That's what his new name is. Stephen the Bridge Finder Ortiz. And also in the room with me, I wrote you bitch. I'm about to get. Where do I pick up my Willie Award? GD Fenderson. Good morning.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. Are you so dumb that it took you 4 days to realize that you're looking at backwards and not ha ha ha? Yeah, so you're that dumb? Well, why the fuck should I even give this even answer that kind of stupidity? I don't even know. At any rate, did you prepare for a show, a Wednesday morning show by watching a documentary about the wrong person? Me either. That would be stupid. Who would do a dumb thing like that? MindDogTV.com. Enjoy the suffering and support your local mercenaries.
What'd you watch a documentary on?
Earl Long.
I don't know Earl Long.
The guy who invented the tea? Earl Long. No. Earl Long is Huey Long. Where are white women at? Earl Long is Huey Long's brother.
Oh.
He was the governor of Louisiana.
Why would they put a documentary about such an unknown fucking Earl Long? Earl Scheib, I could see a documentary on. That would be an interesting documentary. Earl Scheib. Earl Long.
Yeah, but Earl Scheib didn't have the adventures with a young stripper like Earl Long did.
Who did? I think he did. I think everybody did, didn't they?
I don't know. I didn't. I've never had an affair with a stripper.
You did.
I was the stripper they had the affair with.
Well, you had the affair with yourself. There you go.
Did you ever think of that one?
I win. I win again.
I would have to been cheating on someone to have no, and I didn't.
I win again.
I've never
cheated on your right hand with your left hand.
I just keep winning.
I've never cheated on anyone. Otherwise, I'll lose my street cred.
Who said cheating? Nobody said cheating.
Stephen, because affair. When you have an affair, that implies that you're in a relationship with one person.
No, affair does not imply cheating. Look it up. Affair does not. Stephen, look it up. Go ahead. Look it up. I'm just looking at the heat wave here. It's only 80 degrees here. That's not only going up to 87. That's not like deadly heat wave, right? That's nothing to be concerned about.
We have extreme heat warnings here.
Stephen, I gotta. Now, you're far from Indianapolis, right? You're not near Indianapolis.
I'm about 2 hours, 3 hours.
Something fell. Are you aware of this? Like a sphere fell from space. A globe object fell from space and landed.
You mean the thing that fell off the tower?
I don't know. They didn't say where it fell from. It was part of the news story here, and there was a picture of it.
Yeah, no, the local news covered it. It's from a meteorological tower. It got blown off during a storm.
Wow. It looks like it could have taken out a house or two.
It probably could have done some damage for sure. Yeah,
but it didn't. It kind of looks like something from a cheap sci-fi movie. Is what it looked like. But all right, I thought it fell from space and nobody knew what the fuck it was. That was the News 12 covered it. What the hell? There's a round thing in the street. So that's not the case. No big deal then. Let's go on.
Now to answer your question, I went to the authority on cheating, Google, and Google said affairs. Okay, this is one of those things where we both may be right. I'm not exactly sure. I'll read it and then we can fight over later. Affairs can be considered cheating. Quote. Affairs can be considered cheating in a relationship as they involve a secret sexual relationship and someone outside the committed relationship. Cheating is typically defined as engaging in intimate behavior with someone who is not your spouse or usual partner, which is often done behind your partner's back. Now, I'm stopping there because if you're not doing it behind their back, then that's not cheating and it's not an affair. It's more like an open relationship. I don't know if
the
you agree on that or not.
Webster definition of an affair is an event or sequence of events of a specified kind that has previously been referred to.
I think of cheating as more of
Nothing about cheating, nothing about behind the back, none of that stuff. Affair, as Merriam-Webster defines it, an event.
Now, are you looking up A space FAIR or AFFAIR?
Affair is all I looked up.
It makes a difference if you're looking up affair or affair. I'm just saying.
No.
Both involve a fun ride, though, depending on who you are, I guess.
A sequence of events.
Now, see, again, so I guess it depends on which definition of affair you're going to be grasping at in the dictionary.
Well,
I went to the source on cheating, which is Google, because that's how almost all cheating starts. Nowadays, because nobody meets in bars anymore. They all meet online.
Have you read the book, The Thomas Crown Affair?
No, I never read The Thomas Crown Affair.
Okay.
But again, that's a difference.
There's no relationship. There's no romance. There's nothing. No sex.
Here it is. I saw the movie, and there's a relationship between Pierce Bronson and Rene Russo.
Oh.
And they were both cheating. And they were cheating.
The Thomas Crown Affair is not about the relationship, though.
It is. It's about a
sequence of events.
No, it wasn't about a sequence of events. It was about two people hooking up over jewelry and cheating and stealing it. Or something. No. I didn't see the whole movie. Matter of fact, I just saw.
You saw the title of the movie.
I saw the previews.
Yeah. Some of GD's comedy shows are so small they can be seen as intimate behavior. Thank you, Ian. Blind Ian chiming in. Appreciate that. Did you do do we have a film from you about who the fuck is GD Fenderson? Because that would be good. Isn't every book about a sequence? Yes, every book is about a sequence of events. Well, not necessarily. It could be about one event. Right, just a sequence of one. Is one a sequence? Steven, look it up.
It is not.
Okay, so yeah, it could be about just one thing, right? Just one thing. It'd be a short book, but it could be about just one thing. Matt, why haven't you sent Steven a dynamic mic for better sound quality? That crap is using it. I sent it to Steven via Willie. And asked Steven.
He lost it at the airport.
Yeah, I asked him to go to New Mexico and pick it up. So, along with my Tascam Mixcast. And great, brand new mics. He has a condenser mic. He has a dynamic mic.
My buddy tried getting me a soundboard and it was super cheap and it doesn't work at all.
Well,
Stop.
Not only does your mic suck, but your mic technique sucks as well.
Yeah,
I've heard women complain about his mic technique sucking.
Yeah,
doubt that.
All right, so what are we going to do for an hour and a half while we wait for Thomas Patterson, who's not James Patterson, who doesn't do commercials for his books? James Patterson,
and he doesn't write books about. He doesn't write books about Earl Long. He writes books about Huey Long, Earl Long's brother.
I got something we can talk about. So a local comic.
Not interesting. Okay, go ahead, Matt.
All right.
No, go ahead, Steven. Does this story get any better? Go ahead, Steven.
It does. So don't you take my mannerisms, Mr. Blackman.
No, wait, hold on. Go ahead. I got a paint party thing to answer. Go ahead.
So there was a local comic tried booking a bunch of comedians locally for a don't tell comedy show, which is a trademarked show, and the guy basically just stole the name under false pretenses, trying to book people, and got caught red-handed, and now it's a whole thing going on right now.
Wait.
So what's the penalty now? He won't be able to appear on the real Don't Tell comedy
No,
show?
I think it just hurts his credibility, really, because he went around booking people under the name of a show that he didn't have the rights to, and then
don't you think him being a comedian ruins his reputation to begin with?
I mean, usually, yeah, but he used the people who own Don't Tell Comedy found out and then emailed everybody, sent out a message to everybody letting them know. And it's so yeah.
And that's interesting, that they found out, because that's a national thing, right? And then they're keeping an eye on local stuff in Shitbend, Fuckface, Indiana, or whatever it's called.
Well, some of the people he booked are some of the bigger names in the area who've won, competitions around the country and things like that, who have a little bit of a reputation, who got booked and started posting about it. That's how they found out was, hey, we didn't book you on a show. How'd you get booked? Oh, well, this guy booked me. And they're like, well, no, he can't book you.
GD, have you noticed a pattern here? Have you noticed a pattern here?
Yeah. Pete, comedians are crooks, and that's why you should be. That's why I'm humorous. That's why
that pattern has been well established since.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm a proud humorist, not a comedian.
That's why Adam started the crook stuff when he was playing Eve's Giggle Snatch and got caught billing it as dry snatch, whatever. But no name. Steven's not dropping any names here. He's like like he's afraid of getting sued. I would be the one getting sued anyway.
The guy's name is Ty Mead.
What?
Ty Mead.
Ty Shoelaces. What? Ty.
Mead.
All right. And some of the big.
Is it mead like fort, or mead like the drink, or mead like
I think more like the drink, MEAD.
Okay.
Just somebody just decided now that they want to have a paint party tomorrow. You know what? Maybe I'll do it.
I don't understand. They're deciding now, like right now, as we're speaking, they're deciding.
So they're trying to sell it right now, and they want to know if I could do it. So yeah, somebody's on the phone with California. Hey, I want to have a paint party tomorrow. Like what?
Does it involve? Is this another one of those swingers kids things? Because you want to find out if there's kids involved.
It doesn't say how many people, what the ages of the people are. This is important because I've asked them. It does say 10 people, but it doesn't say kids. I've asked them to let me know if it's kids, because I got to be able to say no if it's kids. I don't want to. It's terrible.
You need to. Tell them you have a restraining order and you can't be around kids. And last time they almost got you in trouble with the courts. That's it. And that way they won't book you for kids.
They won't book me for anything ever again.
That's not right, because you can go to an adult book painting thing, adult painting. There's nothing that's not right.
I wouldn't want to be making that case. That's all I'm.
You need a better lawyer.
Yeah.
Hire me as your attorney. I will argue that case, and we will take it all the way to the Supreme.
Here at Blackburn and Green.
We'll take it all the way to the Supreme.
No, do we cheat him and how?
Do we cheat him?
So, Stevie, you're laughing like you've heard this for the first time, and Matt and I have referenced.
The first time I've heard that.
Boy, you're so. Oh my God! You know how many times Matt and I have referred to Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe as a law firm on this show? I mean, just the two of us. Not even to mention the fact that it's a famous comedic.
Generally, when you're telling a story, I usually doze off because you're talking about your mom or your sister or your brother.
And notice I said Matt and I mentioned.
Well, he sleeps when I'm talking too. I
don't sleep when Matt talks. I just don't hear him.
No. I said Matt and I. So apparently you were even sleeping when I even mentioned the fact that Matt and I.
I'm surprised. Well, there's two things. I'm surprised he never heard Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, but only a little surprised about that, because I'm surprised you have not noticed that he's usually sleeping on this program. He brings nothing to the table. Not even a porn star. It's been like 6 weeks now. Not even a crumb of porn stars.
It's been a week, and I've reached out to porn stars. I just haven't heard. I've even reached out to Vic Legina. He gave me names, said, mention me, tell them you want to interview him. I said, okay. And I've still not heard back. So.
Now, what are you putting in?
I was asleep when you said that. What you said? Did you say something about Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe? I'm sorry.
No, I was just telling them a story about your mom. That's why you fell asleep.
No, he said something about lick vagina, but that has nothing to do with getting us a porn star.
Well, we know that his mic technique is so bad that if he licks vagina, he's just going to cause damage. He's not going to pleasure anyone. He's going to torment people.
What do you think? I'm going to go do that tonight, as a matter of fact. So.
Since Steven is asleep right now, I have to worry about him hearing that insult because he's
we addressed your subject line. What are you saying in the letter? Are you telling them that you have like 3 weeks to live, and that that you're Make-A-Wish, they're your Disney? Are you telling them that? Or no,
I did put that in the subject line to Riley Reid.
But what about in the body of the letter of saying, please come on, I'm gonna die and I need to beat off to your fucking face one time before I die?
Something along those lines, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I basically told them
the
doctor prescribed to be involved in 2 bukakis as the donor, not the receiver. So that's what I'm trying to do. So
John Beaver, what accolades do we get if we get a porn star for the show before Steve? We'll rename it to John Beaver's Memorial Coffee with the Dog Show. We'll whatever you want. We will the UEP Long and John Beaver's Long Beaver something. We'll do something. You become a full-time executive producer. There you go.
With all of the pay and benefits of the executive producer.
I'll give you all my pay right now.
I will give you double what I'm paying these guys.
Damn.
Oh shit.
You know, 1,000,000 times 0 is still 0, right?
Be prepared to move up to a new tax bracket, John.
Yeah, from poor to poorer.
Well, that was Huey Long's thing. Chicken in every he was share our wealth. He was one of these guys. Let's just give everything away. We'll just promise him a chicken in every pot. Some
what
pot.
If my shirt said straight?
Now, who would kill a guy? Oh well, we know who killed the guy, but a guy who's promising everybody free shit doesn't sound like a guy you want to kill. That's all I'm saying.
What if it's your shit that he's giving away? He's like, wait a minute, you can't be giving away my shit. what the fuck's wrong with you?
Oh, by the way, GD's lawnmowers. What you will win today. Third caller today wins with the phrase that pays. Give me that fucking mower. Is the phrase. You win GD's lawnmower right out of his shed.
Hey, speaking of GD's power tools, how long is it going to take for you to finish this fucking tree? Oh my god.
Well, first of all, I have been held up by the fact that we've had storms a good 45% of the time since the tree went down. We've had rain, and now we have the high heat and humidity.
So high heat and humidity is not a storm.
No, I said, and now we have.
Look, Steven, look up storm.
First I said, and now we have high heat and humidity.
Storms need humidity to form, but they do not go hand in hand.
And I did not say that they did. I said, and now we have. And if Stephen was awake, and if Matt was awake, the two of you would have heard the fact that I said that.
I heard that's what you said, but you said 90. You started out with 190% of the time.
And when you start a race, you start off on your hands and feet, and then by the time you finish it, if you're running, you don't have your hands anymore. At some point, you pay attention. I lifted my hands a while ago.
You lost me.
Yes, I started the race in one position, and I finished it upright. Okay,
you lost me at track race. I can't do that.
Well, of course, because I say race and you hear rope. Okay, so
whoa, no, I heard running is what I heard, which also, yeah.
Did you know?
No.
Did you know?
No.
Where's seeds? I gotta get seeds, or is it sides? SEIDS is her name. I think she pronounces it sides. I love the way she says, "Did you know? Did you know?" She gives tips on Logic Pro. Did you know?
Are you high right now?
She's never high. Well, I don't know. She doesn't look like the kind of girl who gets high. Anyway, where was I going with this? Oh, did you know that that New York City is the most important city in America? Did you know that?
Supposedly,
I don't know, but I don't know how the election turned out yesterday. I should have.
The Muslim won. The Muslim beat Andrew Cuomo.
All right.
Zorhan. Why is that?
Who
all
came
right?
in second? Hopefully
Cuomo.
Lander.
I think Cuomo.
That's
Cuomo. I think he's basically bowing out because he lost by a lot. I don't know about that, but anyway, somebody said, "How is it a Muslim guy with no qualifications is going to be mayor of the most important?"
First of all, that's not right. It's not accurate that he has no qualifications.
I'm just I'm focusing on why New York City. What makes New York City the most important city in America in this guy's eyes? Like, what are the qualifications? How do you determine the most important city? I'm sure Stephen would tell you South Bend, Indiana, is the most important city.
Fuck no, that place could die in a hole.
All right.
Matter of fact, I think that is the Indian name for South Bend, Indiana.
I think that is. Yeah, it's Death Pit or something like that. It's
So
where people in dreams go to die.
are you both agreeing that New York City is the most important city in the United States of America?
It depends on the time, and it depends on the moment in time. Like,
yeah,
for example, on September 11th, 2001, New York was the most important city in the world, mainly because it was like the epicenter of the great Satan being attacked, you know.
But it could also be the greatest city in America if your profession, you know, like
greatest
centered there.
Like greatest that most important. Greatest, yeah, I will admit that anything with New York in it is the greatest. Obviously, I mean, there's no fuss.
Talk about the egg sandwiches and the pizza and the bagels alone.
New York sex registry, right?
But most important. I mean, how do you determine that?
Now, again, it probably depends on your point of view. It seems like, for example, a lot of the economy goes through New York. I don't know how important it is compared to the rest of the world, you know, because that's where the New York Stock Exchange is. It's not called the Orlando Stock Exchange or the Hollywood Stock Exchange.
There's a Chicago Stock Exchange, though, right? And that's a big one.
Well, I mean, sure, but
but nobody uses that.
Yeah, like what?
The only reason why they have the Chicago Stock Exchange because so many people get stuck in O'Hare Airport that there's enough people to start a new economy in Chicago. So they started their own stock exchange. That's the only reason why they even have that. So if O'Hare was a better airport, they wouldn't have that many people stuck in Chicago long enough to do that.
All right, I'm just this New York is a microcosm of the U.S. We're number one. We're number one. If we're number one, why is L.A. in the news every fucking day and New York?
They're number one for different reasons. LA is number one. Homelessness.
They're the one.
Fires,
they're the one that's on the news, so they must be more important, right?
I think that's where GD. That's where GD said.
Newsworthy aren't the same thing. Because remember, newsworthy is more about sensationalism. You know, at least nowadays, newsworthy is sensationalism, and all the sensationalism is happening in not all of it, but a good.
Again, I think it goes to point of view, right? Because you know, what you're thinking when you're thinking of the greatest or best city or the most important city, right? Because if you're a stage actor, New York might be the place that's the most important to you, but you know, Chicago's got its own thing, or LA's got its own thing, you know.
It depends on type of acting you want to do. If you're doing stage acting, it's New York. If you're doing film acting, it's probably LA. And if you're doing political acting, it's 1600 Pennsylvania.
Or if you're a young black actor, you go to Atlanta.
Thank you for reminding me. I have to do an audition tape today for the mob movie that they're trying to cast. They liked all my stills. They liked a couple of clips they saw. Now I have to do.
These are blind people.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, stupid. It could be stupid. You don't know that they're blind.
Ellen Keller is casting.
They just be stupid. Number one in public transport stabbings. Now, do we know that for a fact?
I don't know.
That sounds right.
What sounds right about it? I mean, you could stab anybody. You could stab anybody in like Dubuque.
Well, public transport stabbings. I imagine most of those are happening on the subway.
And is this per capita or is this on average?
Right. And Steven says in this, nobody takes the fucking subway. It's the most.
Why does it always seem so busy in videos?
Doesn't always seem busy on videos. I don't know what videos what are you looking at? Vic Logina's 1970 videos.
He was watching the documentary Money Train.
No, but like if I come across videos of people
get off my train, subway, get off my train. There's only two guys down there, and one of them's a fucking ghost.
That's a different documentary.
Yeah, that's a different movie.
That was shot at 3 a.m.
Wasn't that Patrick Swayze's friend?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, it wasn't his friend at that
Well, his
point.
ghost mentor, I
Yeah,
guess.
at that point, it wasn't his friend at that point.
That guy was good casting for a ghost. I mean, he looked like a ghost.
Yeah, he was one of the better ghosts I've seen casted in a documentary.
So tonight I have Karen Jonas on, and Karen is I feel like an old soul is probably the best way to describe her. She's that old.
You'll say that about anybody who sends you flattering emails that says,
she didn't send me
Daddy,
flattering.
love you long
No,
time.
she did not send me flattering emails. What she sent, none of that. No, she's a singer, songwriter, poet. She sent me her book of poetry, and she sent me some important snippets from the poetry I should read, and one of them caught my eye.
Does she write in the nude or something?
Is it poetry just music without the music?
If those weren't still pictures I was looking at, I'd say she was poetry in motion, but those were still pictures I was looking at. So
are these the pictures that we saw?
Yeah. But so she has this kind of 1950s, 1960s country vibe about her and her music, and she comes off as the girl next door kind of stuff. And then you go to her poetry, and it sounds like something Steven is beaten off to. It's just really.
I guarantee I probably would have started when those pictures came. Probably not at the poetry. I was probably done by then. So just saying.
But it's just a dichotomy. It's just I don't know how to, because I found her. I don't know if you know you guys. I don't know if you know this guy, but most of the guests that we get are sent by publicists. This is another one that I found on my own. I've been seeing her stuff on Facebook of all places.
Well, she shows her stuff a lot. It looks like she's very proud of herself.
Like you're a stalker.
No, those pictures are not on any of the stuff on Facebook. They're not on her website.
I'm not buying it. I'm not. I do.
That's,
I refuse
okay,
to believe.
So that's flattering.
I refuse to believe that you found her based on some sort of art she put out. It had to be a picture you saw. You were like, "Oh shit!"
Let me be very clear. The art that I found her doing, she seemed like my kind of girl. I mean, she's got a guitar and bourbon. She's a big bourbon drinker, and she's cute. But she doesn't dress like. Let me see if I could show you.
In almost anything.
She doesn't dress.
Yeah.
No, she does dress.
Why is it the only pictures I've ever seen of her is like wearing?
The only two that I got.
She looks like somebody took a scantily doll and put a head and legs on it.
Yeah. That's not a bad analogy, I guess. But to me, like, yeah, cute girl who can sing and all that stuff, and brings her own bourbon. Like, she's always got a bottle of bourbon around. I'm like, I can relate to that.
I don't see a bottle of bourbon in these pictures. I just see a couple teacups.
You're looking at the wrong space. Remember the video of the woman sitting on the curb with the beer?
Oh, I see it now. I can see it protruding out of her belly button. Okay, never mind.
Like, this is one of the videos that caught my attention, and you'll probably say, "Oh, well, you're a pig."
Is this fair use?
Is that, you see that? Ah, sounds good, right? You got it? You're loving that.
Yeah. So she's a black woman.
Yep, that's what got him right there.
No. That you see the big bourbon in the shot there.
What bourbon?
I pose with liquor bottles all the time. Doesn't mean I'm drinking them.
But every picture she's got on Facebook, she's had a glass of bourbon in her hand. All right, that's it. That's all the music you're gonna get.
Las Vegas dream.
See, this is not overly sexual stuff, right? This is like
one bewitched.
Except for the fact she's trying to sing like Marilyn Monroe is doing the singing.
She looks a little like that Bangles chick.
I'm so happy.
That's going on.
I'm pushing air through my nipples.
But that doesn't. So when I invited her on the show, this was a couple of months ago, I had no idea she had this sexual thing because her
Really?
poetry.
You couldn't
I
tell
don't
from the
believe
voice.
that. I
Yeah.
don't believe that. The voice, the look, everything about her just screams Matt's drooling over there in the corner. And
No, there's no doubt. I thought she's attractive and all that stuff,
No,
but
I'm not
I
even
didn't.
talking about
I,
attractive.
can I
I'm talking about-
read? Hold on a second.
No, you don't have to defend yourself, Matt. We just say
We just
you're
know
a
who
horny
you
old
are.
man. Yeah, just own it. I'm a horny old man, and
Yeah.
there's something
No, that
that's
I am not
subliminal.
denying any of that. See, you're thinking I'm
Listen.
denying that. I'm just saying I was shocked by the poetry that I read. Is like, wow, that's not what I expected.
roses are red, violets are blue. Undo your pants and I'll blow you. Was that her poem that you saw?
No, that's the one that you took off a bathroom wall. What are you doing in Maryland, you little creepy bastard? You were in Westminster in the bathroom and didn't tell me you were in my town?
Oh, well, Banksy
Get off
can
of my...
show up.
No, it's like they saying ghost. It's like they saying ghost. Get off of my toilet.
All right, I can't find the fucking clip, but I want to read just a little bit of just a snippet of that poetry stuff. What's she say here? Come on! Probably the wrong one, right? Probably the wrong one.
It's funny. A while ago, I had a friend of mine.
That's Ron's fucking weird picture. That's what that is. What's wrong with him?
Damn it, Steven. Wait 2 days.
All right, no, this is the end of one of this is the tail end of one of her pieces of poetry. It says, "Welcome to my pornographic sadness. I could never tell him anything, but I'll tell you 1,000,000 times how he fucked me speechless. Am I broken or am I fixed? Or at least I can talk again, but now I'm being a cynic. Was there nothing to say with my mouth around his dick?" That was not what I expected.
I think it takes talent to rhyme cynic with dick.
I know.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely talent.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you any.
I wouldn't have done that. I think if I would written the word cynic, I wouldn't have rhymed it with dick. But then again, it would have been sucking it either.
Bars.
So.
That's some Eminem level bars right there.
Yeah,
cynic and dick. That's like orange and doors.
But I was kind of expecting an innocent sexuality. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, I know I'm dressed in kind of lacy stuff and all this.
I'm
stuff.
not sure there's such a thing as innocent sexuality.
Yes, there is.
I can see innocent sensuality. But I don't see innocent sexuality.
Well, we're on semantics.
She could be wearing a t-shirt and blue jeans.
I don't even wear semantics.
You wonder why Steven doesn't hear, because you fucking talk over him all the fucking time.
Because he's asleep. If he were awake, I'd listen to him. But these somnambulisms, I don't.
Where the black women at?
I could. Never mind.
Yeah, what you say, girl? No, he's not in the house. Don't be afraid. My cat is scared. She thought Steven was in the house. No, honey, you go back to bed. Steven is safe.
You got a black pussy over there?
Steven is at least 5 states away.
Wait a minute. How old is the cat? Because if the cat's over 10 years old, it doesn't have anything to worry about with Steven.
I don't like geriatric cats, though.
She's a stray. We don't know how old she is.
That counts.
Well, you count the rings. You cut her in half and count the rings.
No, you count the wrinkles on her stink star, and that should tell you how old she is.
I don't get that close to my cat.
All right, fine.
So I guess she's ageless, because I'm not going to find out that way.
So how we need an over on, like, I don't know, some kind of bet.
And I don't wear under.
How long it's going to take before I stick my foot in my mouth tonight? And with this young lady who
I'm gonna tune in and just wait for you to say something.
I'm not even. I don't think that you're.
I'm not prepared.
I think your foot will be in your mouth before you even turn on the microphone. I'm just wondering how far your foot's going to go in your mouth, and
he's gonna hot mic
your
himself
tonsils with your toes.
He's gonna hot mic himself. He's gonna start the show with the intro, and his mic's gonna be on. He's gonna be like, "God damn, she looks good."
See, it's some more stuff about her that it's kind of, I don't know, strange. It's confusing. The guy, she's got a steady band, right? And it's all guys, and they're all boomer looking dudes, except for the bass player, who it looks like maybe a Gen X or whatever. But he looks indifferent, like he doesn't like doing music videos. But the older guys, and now to keep a band together, because she's been doing this for a while, to keep the band together, you got to keep them working, right? So she works, but a lot of her work is in the UK. And I'm thinking, well, that you got to take, if you're from America, you got to pay for their hotel stays. You got to pay for their transport to the UK.
But do you know that when she works in the UK, that she takes the band with her?
I don't know, because she does work in Virginia and stuff too. So I'm like, is she an American? Is she? Because it would make more sense if she was like British and just had a fondness for 1950s, 1960s American country. That would make more sense to me than somebody who grew up in Virginia, or one of her songs is Oklahoma Sadness or something like that. So I think I don't know. I've never heard her speak. Before the show, I'll probably get a chance to say one or two words to her and figure out if the accent is there and she's English or American. But I'm not.
But then again, she may do that. She may do a George Bush on you, or President Kerry, not President, Senator Kerry, Senator Kennedy on you. Like, she'll talk one way in private, like this is, yeah, hey there, Matt, testing 1, 2, 3, and then when the mic comes on, she goes, howdy, y'all. I'm just here to talk about my country music.
I make music and I dress scantily because you're sponsored by Tantally.
If you rhyme scantily with tantally one more time, I'm going to piss on you. I want to piss on you, piss on you, piss on you.
Like that's
Kelly, calm down. Jeez.
Sorry. I just want to piss on you.
Yeah, Matt Kelly.
I don't get the piss thing. I never. I mean, people have all sorts of fetishes, and you could probably try to rationalize any of them. But the piss on me thing is.
Pee and poop play is probably the grossest kink out there. It's gross.
Why do I even have to go there?
Gross.
Now, well, the pissing on is more than likely a power thing. If you're the one who wants to be pissed on, it's probably a lack of self-respect, and that's just the way you view the world, like you're being pissed on or something. Yeah, thank you. See, I don't do those kinds of things, so I don't know the appropriate terms for that.
I don't do them either. I just know.
Yeah. Wait, go back to sleep. So,
I agree.
He wakes up he's like, Shane Pink.
Now, Ian will probably know this, and maybe even Beavers knows this. Bill Rhodes definitely doesn't know this. How does the pissing thing? You don't do it in your bed, right? If you're a piss play person, you don't do it in the bed. Is there a special room you have mats and rubber mats?
You guys should be so flattered that Matt thinks you guys are the expert in how pissing works like that. And Rhodes, if I were you, I'd be insulted that Matt is.
I just think they're worldly. They have a world of knowledge about things that.
Yeah, it's funny you ask.
Bill is a historian, so
most of my knowledge. Most of my knowledge on all of this is based on Reddit, right? And the subreddits, usually WTF and Not Safe for Work, where I used to spend a lot of time. A lot of piss videos.
I don't know what fucking Reddit you're tuned into. Every Reddit I get is about Jesus or Elvis or the Beatles.
Search NSFW or WTF, and you'll get all the weird shit. And the piss videos, some of them are in beds, but it looked like a lot of them are in like showers or bathrooms or like public bathrooms and just gross weird shit. Yeah.
So the answer, first of all, I just want to say I wasn't diminishing my. I didn't want to put out a diminished view of Bill Rhodes there. I think Bill Rhodes is smart. I just think he's probably too cultured to be care about pissing on people or being pissed on. Whereas Ian probably thinks that's probably amusing, right? Ian, am I right? You're right. I'm right. And John is a worldly guy who travels in circles of people who have weird little, not weird, I mean, you know what I mean, different sexual proclivities is what I want to say. Have you seen the shorts he wears? He knows about pissing.
It's true. I'm actually really worried that this Mothman thing is actually some sort of like
mouse man. It's mouse man, and he's pissing in your mouth.
That's what I'm concerned about. Maybe.
So do we have an answer to the question why it doesn't happen if you're in piss play? Is it called piss play? First of all,
it's piss play. Yeah,
piss play. If you do that, it's not in your bedroom, right?
Sometimes it happens in bed, and sometimes from the videos I've seen, there's sometimes where it happens in bed.
Videos I see.
And then there's from Reddit. They either happen in bed. But a good chunk of the videos are generally like in a bathroom, in a shower, or in like a locker room. Usually not in a bed, but it does happen.
Oh, see, Bill is more a lot. Yeah, somebody water sports. I think that's
It's a fine line there, though, Bill, because when I hear water sports, I think of a lady squirting, not necessarily just pissing. So it's a fine line there too, though. So I don't know. Welcome to Coffee with the Dog.
Yeah. So there was, because you brought up poo play. Poo play, is that?
Yep.
It sounds like a strange mustard or something. Poo play. Grey Poupon.
That's a Grey Poupon or some poo play.
Grey Poo play. No, that woman who was on Twitter, she was like a sex researcher or something. She kept putting out these daily. She admitted she likes to eat poo. Like, come on,
what the fuck?
Right.
God,
I mean,
dude,
I didn't even want to know that. I know that you didn't want to know it either, but I just passed a disturbing mind thing on. But eating poo, this is not a human thing. This is, first of all, it's got to be like toxic, right?
I mean,
right?
not only would you think it would be toxic, but like,
Gigi's looking on Reddit right now. He's all over Reddit. Poo play.
I just feel like people that like anal, like most of them don't like poo. Like they don't want to touch it, right? Which again, it's fine line, just like peeing and squirting. It's a fine line. So, but I mean, I think once poo is in,
what do you mean most people?
I just feel
what this doesn't make sense if you're into anal but you don't like poop. Why?
No.
You can avoid it by just not going to anal, and
Right.
there's no poop. Like there's no poop in
I feel like with anal, there has to be okay. I would never touch the butthole of a stranger. No. Gross.
Oh, really?
No, because I feel like there has to be a mutual like agreement that it's going to happen, so the person who's going to receive it prepares for it. They clean themselves up.
I'm inspired. I'm trying to write lyrics here. Butthole.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That sounds like Steven's favorite country song, "Butthole of a Stranger."
Butthole of a stranger, crusty and gross. Put my pecker in it, and it fell off real
I can't tell the
close.
difference between Matt's creative face and Matt's masturbating face. It's like, I'm thinking of a song. I'm thinking of a song.
Butthole of a stranger.
Butthole of a stranger. Oh.
He's an
You
anal
never know where
ranger.
inspiration comes from. You never know.
He's a pervert anal
Butthole
ranger.
of a stranger. She goes to Tantally.
Yeah.
Butthole scantily. I rape her rantily.
Oh my
She
God,
Did he just rhyme scantily with it cantily again? Because I will piss in Steven's mouth.
No, I said
No, you have
Tantally.
to piss in his mouth. I didn't do it.
No, the deal was if it ever gets
No,
mentioned again,
damn
I
it.
piss in your mouth. You know, like those the clowns in the circus game with the water gun. That's gonna be me and you. I'm gonna.
You piss in my mouth, I'm shitting in GD's mouth. So
All right, let's get it happening. This is ratings, folks.
This is turned into some kind of centipede that I don't want to be a part of.
Yeah.
and emphasis on the peed. It's a centipede, not a centipede. All right, I don't want to be involved in this.
One of the dumbest political takes ever. I'm reading it right now. Bad mayors can ruin once fine cities. Just ask San Francisco, Chicago, Los Angeles, Portland, Seattle, London, Toronto, and now New York City. Now New York City. I don't know if you followed New York City, but we've had some pretty fucked up mayors all along the line. And to say can ruin once fine cities, what? This is like a make America great again. New York. When was New York a fine city? In the 1800s, something. When was New York a fine city? I don't know. Have you been to 42nd Street and 7th?
Didn't New York used to be the capital of our country?
I think yes, it was.
So that's probably when it was a fine city.
I don't think it was a fine city then. I think it was a fucking shithole then.
that was a shitty swamp.
But how did it beat out all the other cities to be capital? Wasn't there like an election of which was going to be the capital, and New York won?
I think it was just like they were fighting. Like, but I want it. It was like one of those fucking things where it's my turn. I want to be the capital. Philadelphia, New York, Boston. Let's find a place that's not in a state. And then you know, we have rats that carry pizza around rats.
Stop
which is like
bragging, okay? Stop bragging
No,
about your
yeah,
education
dude.
system. Yeah, stop
Yeah,
bragging
dude.
about the employment rate. Yeah, okay, you have
Go
rats that
on.
are your rats are gainfully employed.
Our
Stop bragging.
coordinated rats are who can walk upstairs and eat pizza at the same time. That's a
Yeah,
pretty.
so your rats are better
Got
trained
me
than ours
beat.
in Baltimore. Our rats are basically
That's
used to
even
find
beat.
drugs.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, our rats in Baltimore are used to find drugs. You know, if you want to find a bag of drugs, follow the rats. The rats go into the alley. You can see them chewing on a bag full of cocaine or meth or crack or whatever.
Who's just leaving bags of cocaine? Who's leaving product around?
Depends on the back neighborhood you're in. It's not like they're leaving it around. It's like there's a shooting and the person who got shot, they're being chased and they're throwing the bag around because they don't want to be caught with that much dope on them. And they don't go back to that spot, or they go back to the spot and the rats have already moved the coke because the rats know they'll be back for this.
This is kind of what I was thinking right here.
Not my hometown, by the way. I am on Long Island, which is I'm good 75 to 90 miles from New York City, but I wasn't born here either. I'm a South Shore Long Island guy. I guess my family is from New York City, Brooklyn, East New York, Brooklyn. So, but yeah, it's not my hometown. But anyway, affluent. The rats carried the pizza past the homeless people, and I'm surprised that the homeless people don't say, "Keep the pizza. I'm eating the rat." But so the point is, New York City was never like a fine. We've had mayors that are worse than. I don't know anything about this Zorhan guy. But apparently people say he's never had a real job in his life. Never had any real job.
Okay, you can say that about a lot of billionaires also.
Right. Yeah, you can say that about Trump.
And then also, how are they defining a real job? Because apparently, now I'm not an authority on him. I'm not an authority on him at all. And a lot of what he did was like legislative things, like passing bills and community organizing and stuff like that. So there's that like Obama flair.
Well, wasn't Obama also a teacher
and also an attorney?
He taught constitutional law, right? He was a professor.
Yeah. So, but maybe being a professor isn't a real job. We don't know what these people are thinking. Some people are just stupid and they just say the first trope that comes to mind.
So his last name sounds too much like Madman. Mamdani. Zorhan Mamdani. I thought for some reason I kept reading it Madmanny. He is a state assembly member, so that's a real job, right? A state assembly member, is that a real job?
You would think, but then again, we don't know who the person who said he never had a real job is thinking. We don't know. Maybe they're so blue collar that if you haven't busted your knuckles or scraped them walking to work, then you don't have a real job.
He was born in Uganda. I don't know.
I did not know at all.
It's just weird. I don't know. I thought, wow. Yeah. Just to be able to be born in Uganda and become a mayor in New York. It's a pretty, I don't know. I'm trying to find out where he actually worked, why they're saying, he's done the hunger strikes and,
yeah. I think that's what brought him to the public eye in New York, his hunger strike.
All right. Do you think he's going to win? Is he going to win?
General rule of thumb, the Democrat will win the mayoral race in New York. So the Democratic nominee. So if he's winning or is going to win, then the Democratic nominee, then he probably will wind up being the mayor.
One of his proposals is freezing rent. I know that. Freezing rent. Right,
freezing rent and making public city buses free. Now, I don't know if that's to everyone or just to New York residents. I would like to think it's just to New York residents, to be honest.
Well, I think that's fair. Yeah, if you're visiting, and then you should definitely just,
but that is freezing rent thing. Not that I'm for capitalist pigs and robber barons. But it does seem unfair. What if your bills go up as you're renting this thing, and all your mortgage goes up on the property you're renting, your electric bills go up, and all that is covered in the rent, but you can't raise rent? That seems a little. I mean, it's
well, we have to see what the devil is in the details. And he may say we don't know how the bill is going to read. The bill could actually read like the rent is for rent. as is separate from utilities. So like if you have, let's say your rent is $1,500 including utilities. Obviously, just when you say including utilities, there's a separate billing for it. So yeah, the rent is one thing, utilities is something else. The devil's in the details.
The devil. Oh, I remember, and I've never lived in Manhattan. I had a friend who lived in Manhattan. I remember once I got invited to his place, and
who's his?
It was in the area of Penn Station, that Midtown thing, and I found his apartment, and it turned out to be way smaller than this. He was living with a woman. The entire apartment was way smaller than this room. That includes bathroom, bedroom, and little kitchenette area. I mean, it was so tiny, and they were paying. And I'm talking 1978, 79. They were paying $2,000 rent for something like.
Oh my God!
Then, 2,000 for a room smaller than just barely bigger than a bathtub.
It's like a $6,000 a month room now.
At least.
Oh my God!
So I can't understand what it's so good. Take the fucking train and live in Queens, live in Brooklyn or whatever, and take the train. And why would anybody ever live in that fucking city? And the thing that baffles my mind, you see these storefronts. How much are they fucking storefront renting for? And what do you got to do for overhead every month? So this is the most important city in America? I think not. I think it's the
most expensive city in America.
Most expensive, yeah, without a doubt. It's just I don't know. But so freezing the rent, I'm not. It sounds like a good thing if you're a person who rents. How about you just stop renting? Get the fuck out of New York City. That's what Doug Stanhope told me. Get the fuck out of New York City. I was like, I'm not in New York City, dude. No cost childcare. There's always a cost, right? I mean, you're gonna pay somebody to take care of your kids, even if
I would imagine that would put like daycares and shit either under some sort of government pay thing or something, right? Because somebody has to pay those people to do that job.
Could be vouchers. If your job is vouchers, if you have a daycare and your job, let's say you're one person, you have, because in Maryland, if you're one person, you can only have up to 6 kids, I think, 6 school-age children and 1 or 2 infants. It has to be pretty manageable.
Zoran will implement free childcare for every New Yorker aged 6 weeks to 5 years.
Okay.
Who would you leave a 6-year-old with a stranger who was hired by the city?
But it may not be, that's what I'm saying. If it's a voucher deal, if you may, let's say right now you have a kid that's in daycare and they're like a year old. Okay, you have a person you use for daycare. That child has already have a relationship with that person. If it becomes free daycare, and the city would say, okay, how much are you paying him for daycare? Here's your voucher. Or they would give it directly to that person.
That's what Indiana does for private schools as well.
Or it could be, or it may not even be upfront. It could be that it's like a reimbursement. Like,
John Beavers is so right. We got to get Steven a decent microphone, or at least a mouth that fucking works, or some mic technique.
I'm talking directly into the mic.
I don't know. I don't know. I would never leave a 6-year-old, a 6-month, or 6-week-old with any stranger. It would have to be the godmother or my closest relative before I left a kid that young with somebody else.
You have that problem whether daycare was free or not. You have
right.
So that problem is not going to go away.
Well, I don't know if it's free. Do you get to choose free?
That's
but
what I'm saying. The devil's in the detail. If you already
the child's godmother, can we pay her? And the city pays her.
People, like I said, maybe vouchers, and so like I said, maybe a voucher and maybe a reimbursable thing. Because let's say the person who's watching your kid right now is your cousin, and they're not charging you because they're living in the house with you. They'll say, okay, while I'm in school at night, I watch your kid in the daytime, whatever the arrangement is. There's no point in reimbursing you for that child care. That's what I'm saying. So it could be again, the devil's going to be in the details.
It's wide open for abuse then, like Steven's ex-wife, who's just like charging to take care of him while she's out sucking strangers' dicks and getting a paycheck from the government for it. I'm taking care of Dopey Lumpy over there in the chair, who is home masturbating to Karen Jonas videos and pictures and poetry. Did we hit a dead end there? Did I bang into a wall? I felt like I banged into a wall.
Should we play the news or not?
Is it time for the news?
10:04.
Holy shit. Well, man, I could just ramble on like a fucking idiot for an hour, can't I? I just realized
like an idiot. Like an idiot.
Yes.
World leaders have gathered in The Hague,
Now
Netherlands
is
for
my
a pivotal NATO summit aimed at reinforcing alliance unity and discussing increased defense spending.
Delegates are also addressing emerging threats in Eastern Europe and the Middle East. German Chancellor Merz announced plans for Berlin's defense budget to reach 3.5% of GDP by 2029. US and EU representatives signaled support for bolstering collective security measures amid global instability. Chris Anderson reporting.
Reports from Greece confirm that firefighters are combating a large wildfire on the eastern Aegean island of Chios for the third consecutive day. Joseph Eckerson reports.
Evacuation orders have been issued for residents in several coastal communities. Officials caution that shifting winds could spread flames toward residential areas and cultural landmarks. Air support, including helicopters and water bombers, has been deployed to assist ground firefighters in controlling the blaze.
Police in France report that 14 individuals have been arrested after 145 people were allegedly pricked by syringes at a nationwide music festival.
Authorities are investigating whether the incidents involved substance exposure or intimidation. Officials say the syringes may have been used to instill panic among crowds, though no serious medical issues have been confirmed. Investigators are reviewing surveillance footage and interviewing attendees. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Economic surveys show that Americans' confidence in the national economy has declined in June, reversing gains from the prior month.
Rising trade tensions and persistent inflation are cited as contributing factors. Analysts warn that this softening could impact consumer spending and delay further Federal Reserve interest rate adjustments. Economists emphasize monitoring upcoming retail and labor data for clearer indicators. Lawrence Keller reporting.
In Maryland, local officials report a quadruple shooting early Tuesday in Anne Arundel County.
A 19-year-old male is in critical condition, while 3 other victims suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Law enforcement is actively investigating and urges anyone with information to come forward. No arrests have been made so far. Kevin Sanders reporting.
In California, protests sparked by large-scale ICE immigration raids in Los Angeles earlier this month remain ongoing.
Governor Newsom has sued the federal government after the National Guard's deployment to support enforcement operations. Federal authorities deployed over 4,100 National Guard troops and Marines in response to civil unrest. While many demonstrations have been peaceful, reports of injuries and arrests have surfaced. Jessica Oakley reporting.
The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension confirms that 2 state legislators and their spouses were shot in a politically motivated attack on June 14th.
Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband died, while Senator John Hoffman and his wife remain hospitalized. Authorities say suspect Vance Bolter has been arrested and charged with murder and attempted murder. Investigators continue to probe a potential link to political extremism. Kyle Norris reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
No, it's not the latest news headlines. It's the late news headlines. Not the latest. It's the very late news headlines.
Yeah, it was very late. I mean, we're not used to 2 weeks late. 2 weeks late on the news there.
Was he on vacation or something? It's like, oh shit, what happened while I was gone?
Right. Get off of my fucking train, you damn phone. You guys don't have a phone that rings on your computer, and then all these FaceTime apps just pop up all over the place.
No, my phone is a separate entity so separate that sometimes I miss emails and calls for an hour or so, and then I realize, oh crap, I had a meeting at 9 p.m. I missed it. Yeah, I missed a meeting with Dylan Brody last night. I was so involved in my writing.
You were looking at pictures that I was sending to Steven to get him all excited about my show tonight.
I would think I watched that. I think I was like involved in that text for like a minute or two.
I think you were involved until to completion.
No, I actually was. I opened up my phone because I need to send myself a text to remind myself to do something today. And when I opened it up, that's when I saw all you guys like text each other like 16 times or some crap like that, or whatever it was.
Nice.
Did you see the picture that Ron sent of GD?
Yeah, that was very disturbing.
When I opened up, it went. That's why I said 16. It went all the way back there. It had all these things. Like I hadn't looked at my phone for a while.
I don't usually open anything that Ron sends.
And I didn't open it. I didn't open it.
Ron waited till we were in a conversation when he knew we were all involved to send some shit.
And then it sends this AVIF file. Like nobody can open that.
Yeah, I saw it. I said, I'm not touching it. You can't fool me. No, I'm not touching it.
But then I pointed out that I there's no way I could open that anyway. So he embedded a JPEG. Then thank you. I should have just kept them out shut. And sometimes you should just leave.
Even if Ron sent the file that said JPEG, I'm assuming that PEG is short for pegging, and I'm not opening it. Okay?
No, he's pegging.
Yeah,
right. I'm not. We have to get to our guest, but before we do, one more thing on this Zoran, this guy. If your phone is set to CPT,
because I was like an hour late with everything. Yeah. Central, CPT? Yeah, Central Pacific time.
No, CPT is color people.
The center of the Pacific would be like on the other side of Hawaii somewhere, right?
This is the clock that the brown people use.
Anyway, the last thing on this Zorhan guy. City owns grocery stores. Now, first of all, don't you have to pay Trump for the use of the word grocery?
Yes, his royalties.
I think he trademarked.
It depends on how you're using it.
But isn't that's hard socialism right there, right? Where the city owns the grocery stores. Isn't that the government is now in control of the business? That sounds like almost like communism. That sounds very extreme socialism. Yes or no? I'm confused.
I'm not sure what the plan is. I'm not sure what you're saying.
City-owned grocery stores in New York City. This is his plan. And nearly 9 in 10 of New Yorkers say the cost of groceries is rising faster than their income. Only the wealthiest aren't feeling squeezed at the register. As mayor, he will create a network of city-owned grocery stores.
I think I can understand that. It would be akin to like a co-op. In other words, it's like the city runs a bus station or the city runs a park. The city would be running a few grocery stores, and those grocery stores maybe in neighborhoods where people won't put stores, where there are food deserts. And
to use your line from before, not like the original line. The devil is in the details, but the idea, like, is there going to be a profit? I mean, because there's operating costs and all that kind of stuff.
That's what I'm saying. So, since the government's not in the business of making money per se, there are neighborhoods that have food deserts. If somebody in the neighborhood wants food, they have to go so far away to get, especially good food, healthy food. So in those neighborhoods, the government would say, okay, we're going to put a grocery store there. We'll hire some of the local people. We'll pay them, but we will provide stores in those areas. Now, what that does is it takes off some of the fact that if it's supply and demand related, those other stores now can lower their prices a little bit because they don't have the demand of everybody coming to that one store for food. And so maybe, I don't know. Like I said,
I don't know either.
I can see how I would do it. I don't know what his plan is. That's why I said the devil's in the details.
I could see how the idea would fly in New York City, being a very progressive minded city. So to say, well, that's raw socialism right there, that doesn't disturb people in New York City as much as it would in, say, Dallas, Texas, or Oklahoma.
You don't have to brand it. If you got ahead of it, you wouldn't brand it as socialism. You would show them a product that works, and if it works, doesn't matter what the fuck you call it, people are going to go for it until it stops working, and then it becomes socialist.
Well, this is how it all ties into the conversation that we're going to have, because Huey Long was a populist. He made
brother of Earl Long,
and
famous Earl Long.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know this, but he also had Peter Long, and that wasn't the brother or anything. That was his Johnson. That's what he called Peter Long Johnson. Anyway, I don't know why I said something stupid and disgusting like that, because I'm an idiot. But You could say this is the thing. You can make a promise of anything, right? During a campaign, you could promise like chicken in every pot. You could like, for instance, I could promise no tax on tips, and as soon as I get your vote, say,
or you could promise to fix the economy, and people go like, he's going to repair it. It's like, no, he's going to rig it.
Maybe I could promise something like no new wars. You think that would go over well?
And then instead of having a new war, you would just call it a conflict or a skirmish. It's not a war; it's a skirmish.
Yeah, but see, now this is an argument I got on, and we do have to get to, I guess. But this is an argument I got on Twitter where they're trying to make this case that this is the same as like the Obama's Libya thing, where Obama's Libya thing, at least he made the effort to say this is a limited operation. And they said, well, how do you know that Trump's thing is not a limited operation? Duh, because he called it a war.
And also, he left it open to regime change. Regime change is not like a, that takes a while. That's not a
limited operation. Yeah. And to say ask for unconditional surrender or else, I mean that's not a limited operation. You're saying unconditionally surrender or there'll be more, right?
And if you know anything about the history of the Persians, surrender is not one of the words in their vocabulary unless it's being used to describe someone else's state of mind. They don't surrender. They planned this war for like 10. Okay, even if we lost today, within the next 10,000 years, Allah be praised, we'll come back and kill you all.
Wow. Thanks for that encouraging, bright outlook on.
Look, I call them as I see them, and I see them through the eyes of a black man who's seen a lot. Lord knows I've seen a lot. These eyes have seen a lot. Lord knows.
All right, let's bring Thomas E. Patterson in. Thomas E. Patterson is an author. His monumental biography of Huey Long is a profound reevaluation of his life and legacy, recognizing him as an inspirational progressive thinker, populist hero, and radical influence on the New Deal before his assassin bullet ended his life 90 years ago. Let's say hello to Thomas E. Patterson. Good morning, Thomas.
Good morning, and good to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
Do you want me to call Tom? Because I just want to apologize to you. Usually I'm better prepared when we have a guest on, but to be honest, all this time I thought Earl Long was Huey Long. And so I was ready to ask you a bunch of questions about Earl Long based on the documentary Blaze. And so I've got nothing for you. I'm going to be learning about Huey Long as we go along.
All right.
Well,
primarily Huey Long or something.
Earl Long deserves some comment anyway. I mean, how many people have been committed to a mental institution, escaped, fired the person who institutionalized them, and then resumed the office of governor? I mean, that's
all right.
The answer to that question is 7. I saw that on Jeopardy.
Who is? Because I think I'm one of them. So I cop to that. Anyway, we'll reevaluate it.
7, Alex.
We'll reevaluate that comment you made that it's good to be with us in about 40 minutes. We'll talk about whether you still believe that. But it's a pleasure to have you here. Let me bring up the book cover. Populist. And we were just talking about populism, and populism really amounts to promising people a whole bunch of stuff that you're not necessarily going to deliver. You could deliver on, but not necessarily going to deliver on. How would you define populism?
Well, I think populism is an appeal to the people on behalf of the American dream. They don't always verbalize it that way or articulate it that way. But I think if you look at people that they call rabble rousers or demagogues or mass leaders or whatever, they purport to speak on behalf of the people. Now, the enemies of the American dream can be articulated in a variety of different ways. Joe McCarthy thought that the enemy of the American dream was communism. George Wallace reprehensibly thought it was segregation or desegregation. Huey attacked the Wall Street oligarchs, the same people that Bernie Sanders rails against. And I think you could call Bernie Sanders a rabble rouser in that tradition, and I don't mean it pejoratively. So I think that if you look at Donald Trump, you can see that he believes the American dream is threatened by migrants and immigrants and so on. And he and Huey are kind of opposite sides of the same populist coin.
Yeah.
It depends on what your enemy is and whether you're articulating a realistic solution to the problems that we face.
What about double speak in the sense that, okay, for example, Trump could say our problem is immigration, and then people create one idea in their heads of what they think the solution is, but Trump has a totally different idea. The example I like to use is when Trump says, "I'm going to fix the economy." Most people hear repair, and he's thinking rig, but he just uses the word fix, which is very popular.
Yeah.
So how does that?
We have a long history of being betrayed by our leaders. And I don't mean just people you'd say are bad leaders. If you look at even take someone who's considered a good president, Franklin Roosevelt. In his campaign, he never said he was going to cut veterans benefits. He never said he was going to propose the National Industrial Recovery Act, which kind of regimented business. He just said whatever people wanted to get elected. In fact, there's one story about tariffs where he was shown drafts of two different speeches. One was pro-tariff and the other was against tariffs. And so he told, hey, you two, go into a room and weave the two together. And so, and that is how a lot of.
I was thinking that's where you get them together. And it's like the Council of Nicene. It's like, okay, I don't care which creed you want. Just come out so that I don't look like I'm supporting one or the other.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think part of it is, what's the politician's end goal? I mean, to get elected or to accomplish something. And I think it's more difficult to try to accomplish something than it is to get elected. I'm not saying it's easy to get elected. I'm just saying it's more difficult to try to accomplish something.
I think the politician's job is to get elected. The civil servant's job is to get things done.
You hope.
Yeah.
Although sometimes I've stood in line to get a permit, and I wonder.
I'm just saying that's how it distinguishes between the two. A civil servant really wants to get the work done. I'm not saying they're good at it, but that's their intention. And the politician's intention is to get elected.
Yeah.
And if they have to lie to you, that's what they will do.
I did a story. This is Bill Rhodes, who was a history teacher. I did a story on Huey Long and Paul Sear in college. Great history. Now, one of the things about Huey Long was allegations of voter fraud, right? But I'm still unclear about exactly, because people think voter fraud is something. They're like claims of voter fraud is something new. It's been going on at least 100 years now. But what were the accusations about how and why Huey Long employed voter fraud to become governor, right?
Was it voter fraud or election fraud? Because they're not the same thing.
All right.
Well, look, if there's anything they didn't accuse Huey Long of, it was an oversight. I mean, so whatever they could think of to accuse him of, they did it. Bribery, cursing, drunkenness, you name it. They've accused him of it. They tried to impeach him, or they did impeach him in 1929, but he escaped by the skin of his teeth. The voting fraud, there were a lot of different ways that people interfered with voting. So typically the police forces at the time were very political. And so they could start fights or refuse to break up fights or refuse to police the polling places or whatnot. And they could diminish the voter turnout or increase the voter turnout. Dead people voted in New Orleans. But at the time that Huey was first elected governor, the New Orleans political machine opposed him. And so he suffered from the allegations of voter fraud. But there were certain parishes is like a county in most other states, parishes in Louisiana, south of New Orleans, Plaquemines and St. Bernard, where they had the voter rolls included Babe Ruth, Jack Dempsey, and one of the people in retrospect said, heck, they had trees registered down there to vote. And on a couple of the elections, the vote was like 2,500 to 2. And in one election, Huey asked the sheriff, hey, how am I going to do? And he said, well, I think there's 2 people opposed to you. And then when the vote came in, there was nobody opposed to him. And he said, hey, what happened to those 2 guys? And the sheriff said, well, they changed their mind at the last minute. So they had more people vote than they were included on the census return. Voters. In other words, they had more. I mean, black people couldn't vote at the time, so it was just the white voters they were talking about.
Wow.
But I think that voter fraud was used and voter was used both for him and against him at various points in time. And so sometimes he suffered from fraudulent voting done by his opponents, and then sometimes he benefited from it when the New Orleans political machine was allied with him. I'm sure he benefited to some extent.
Is there a lesson to be learned there in how you restore confidence? I mean, because we are at a point now where every election is being questioned, and we're assuming that foul play was involved in every election. Is there any kind of lesson on how you restore voter confidence in elections, that they're real and not rigged?
Well, I think it's an interesting question, especially today. Dietrich Bonhoeffer said a big problem with any society is stupidity. And when you have someone claiming that an election was rigged and they lose 30 court cases in which they are given an opportunity to prove those allegations, that should restore confidence that the election was not stolen, was not rigged. And yet we have this refusal to acknowledge what the court decisions say. And we have people refusing to acknowledge the 4 losses that Trump suffered in New York. And they're saying it's lawfare, not lawyering.
Right.
Overlooking the fact that John Edwards was indicted and tried for the same exact offense, and nobody yelled lawfare at the time. And of course, he was a Democrat.
Yeah.
Now, I just have a question quick. What are we going to do about restoring voting rights to trees? Because apparently one time they could vote in Louisiana, but they lost the right. How did they go about losing the rights? Who's the bastard that did it? And how do we get them restored?
There's something wrong with my earphones. It sounded like he said trees. Hold on, I got to fix this. You can answer that though, but it sounded like.
Well, it's funny. Some law school academics don't have enough to do. And so there's a doctrine in the court system called standing. So you have to have a stake in the controversy before you can bring a lawsuit. Right. And there were actually academic articles written, shouldn't we give standing to trees so that they could bring
it sounds like he's saying trees. Something wrong with
no self-mutilation on this show. Come on,
what?
Man.
I keep sounding like you're saying trees.
The whole business model of the show is self-mutilation.
What?
That's our business model.
Yeah, that is pretty much. But what could I ask? Possibly be mishearing? Because it sounds like she's saying trees, and that can't be.
Well, look, if the election officials control who's allowed to vote and who's allowed to cast the ballots, they can do that. I don't condone it, but.
Everybody knows that the trees are too busy swinging GD's family.
Oh my God!
I'm sorry.
Just for the record, all trees matter. It does not matter what kind of fruit they bear. If it's strange fruit or apple or oranges, I'm not. If it's a tree, it can vote. I'm sorry.
Wow.
There's Fenderson.
Now, I hate to skip to the end.
Get into strange fruit there.
Yeah, I'm not going to skip to the end here. I want to talk about the assassination, but we'll leave that. Spoiler alert: he gets killed.
What? He's dead?
I know, I blew it.
Damn it! Oh man, I'm sorry.
What got you juiced up to write this book now? What do you think people? Because he thought it was Earl Long. People don't seem to care about the past and learning about history or any of these things. What got you passionate enough to say, I'm going to write this book?
Yeah, I've been interested in Huey on and off for 50, 60 years or so, since T. Harry Williams wrote a prize-winning biography back in 1969. Ken Burns had a documentary about Huey in the mid-1980s, which I thought was interesting. And then there have been a couple of books after that criticized Williams, thought he was overly in favor of Huey. And then the internet brought new sources to light, new video that Williams didn't even know existed. And then Huey's personal papers weren't discovered until after Williams's book was published. And so with the internet, digitization of sources, research became easier. So I got every article in the Chicago Tribune and the New York Times that mentioned Huey from 1928 to 1935. In the old days, you have to rely on scrapbooks and things, and maybe people picked up a good article and maybe they didn't. but or you'd stuck with those microfiche readers, which you'd go blind before you could do enough research on this. So the ability to take it day by day allowed me to draw some cause and effect relationships that I think were absent from the prior works. The personal papers gave me an insight into his personality that was missing from prior biographers through no fault of them. And then I just wanted to reconcile the disagreements that I saw among the different historians. Some were pretty minor and some were major. And so I saw part of your show on creativity with Dwayne. I forget his last name.
Dwayne Walker.
Yeah, I was fascinating. And I'm going to read his book after seeing your show on him, because creativity is a significant interest of mine.
He definitely got me interested in what he has to say. He has a very scientific approach towards creativity, or a well-researched approach to it. Most people don't do that. They just fly by the seat of their pants, creators, and whatever feels good. Not many people break it down in the way he does. So I appreciate you mentioning that show. The idea of election fraud was just him trying to get lower classes to exercise their rights. He was trying to get more suffrage, and suffrage, and increase the voter accessibility to people. He almost a mirror image of Donald Trump.
Well, the opposite, yes. Yes, no question about it. Trump's trying to restrict the suffrage. Huey tried to expand it. And he was one of the first and maybe only Southern politician to abolish the poll tax.
Wow.
And in fact, his son, Russell Long, who later became a United States senator, thought that the repeal of the poll tax, or the elimination of the poll tax, was a big reason for his assassination, because people realized that, holy cow, now that every poor person can vote, we're never going to get him out of office. And they had to resort to violence. I don't. That's not borne out by the evidence.
I was thinking that the polls did it because they didn't want to be paying taxes. That's why I thought the Poles had him assassinated, so they wouldn't have to pay the tax.
And we didn't have a big Polish population then anyway, right? Especially in Louisiana. The Poles.
Yeah, they've got a variety of different ethnic groups, especially in New Orleans, in Asian country and so on.
I was just trying to highlight how stupid I am. Just to reiterate it for people who, like he was saying, Poles, whatever. But the idea that now I am going to jump to this point. First of all, was there a chance, because he was a charismatic guy, right? Do you think there was a chance he actually would have run for president and won?
Yes, I think that there was a chance that in 1936 he would have run as a third-party candidate, split the liberal vote, and elected a conservative Republican. And then in 1940, assuming the Republican made a mess of the economy, he would have been in a great position to sweep in and reform the country.
Yeah,
he hadn't finally decided on that, but it was certainly percolating in his mind.
So was his assassination, and again, a spoiler right here, he gets killed. Was his assassination because of that, because of the idea, let's stop him before he becomes president? It seems more like this was a personal family issue where the son or a stepson of a judge he was trying to get removed was the guy who killed him, right? So was it personal, or was it about trying to stop him from becoming a president?
It's interesting that the issue of the motive of the assassin, in fact, there's even some controversy over whether he was the assassin, but the alleged assassin, and the person I believe did assassinate him, was the son-in-law of a judge. And Huey's legislature was about to pass a law that would gerrymander him into an unfavorable district and cause him to lose his next election. There are also stories, unverified and denied by most people, that Huey was going to smear the wife of this doctor by saying that her family was part black. And then I think a plausible explanation is that this fellow had studied medicine in Europe, and so he had seen some of the European fascist dictators operate, and just became kind of mentally disturbed or mentally unbalanced, fearing that Huey was a similar fascist leader, and therefore he killed him to overturn Huey's efforts to keep Louisiana in the reform column.
Wow. In that one answer, my mind went from how much politics in the United States has changed and how much it hasn't changed, all in one answer. It's like, in a lot of ways, nothing has changed. In a lot of ways, I mean, this whole, it seems like it's completely changed in some respects.
Well, it's one thing on that, and two, just to make your point or reiterate it, one of the people who was plotting to assassinate him, he admitted this to T. Harry Williams, gave this comment that I thought was revealing. He said, Huey was a dictator just like the Kennedys.
Wow. And this was before the Kennedys even got really powerful. I mean, Joe Kennedy was still running moonshine, right?
Yeah, but at the time of this interview, the Kennedys were in power. Now, this was a guy who had been plotting to kill Huey in 1935, but he was interviewed, I think, in the 60s sometime.
That's a strange thing to admit to, even in an interview. Was that guy ever charged with any crime? I mean, that just plotting is conspiracy, right?
Look, your friend Mr. Rhodes, the history fellow, wrote a book about Huey and Paul Sear, or a report about them. There was a report that Huey might be kidnapped, and Sear was quoted in the newspapers as saying, "Heck, if he was kidnapped, I'd pardon the kidnappers." I mean, that's the lieutenant governor talking.
Wow, that's I
guess you could say the electorate was a little polarized, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. So, do you know who your audience is for this? Because it's a fascinating story. It's surprising to me how little we as a public have learned about you. Like even GD, who is a very politically astute guy, he's tuned into politics and history. He wasn't watching Earl Long. I mean, this is his, and this is not just your regular running off the street kind of guy. This is somebody who is tuned into these things. Very, very few people even know about Huey Long. So, your audience, is it people who it people who are history buffs, or what do you know?
Yeah, obviously, I hope that people interested in history will read the book. I would suspect that even if you're a Trump supporter, you should read the book. Or if you're a Trump opponent, you should read the book. If you want to know how Trump got elected or how to defeat Trump, I think this book would have some lessons for you either way.
Because you're not saying that he should be assassinated like Huey Long, right?
No.
I'm just trying to
recording.
Yeah, but you said it with a smile on your face.
I say everything with a smile on my face. That's my wife nervous when it's date night.
Yeah, makes me nervous when it's coffee in the morning. But yeah,
date nights, that's too much information. I don't know.
How about date afternoon? We could talk about that, or date morning.
Yeah, this whole politics. Do you think there will be another election? I mean, it sounds like a ridiculous question. Do you think there will be another presidential election?
Yeah, I think so. But part of that is just my optimistic nature. I'm so old now that, I don't really remember the 50s, but I know about Joe McCarthy and the communist Red Scare. The 60s, I mean, I was a teenager then. We had 3 assassinations. The Vietnam War, 4 people killed at Kent State, all in the same decade. In the 70s, you had Watergate, Nixon being a big crook. 80s, you had the Iran-Contra scandal. 90s, you had Monica Lewinsky. And in 2000, you had the great financial crash of 2008 and 2009.
Okay, when you compare but the blood one, that is like really, really, really minor compared to the other things that you mentioned. It's like war assassination, blowjob, bubble, housing bubbles. That blowjob is like so minor.
I just want to say I never had sex with G.D. Fenderson. Never. That man. I didn't. Excuse me for using his name. I never had sex with that man. Not ever. But I hear what you're saying. But all of those things, how do I even put this, were done by people who at least tried to cover up their crimes or make it seem like they weren't criminals. Now we have a guy who blatantly misses a golf ball with everybody looking, video cameras on, picks it up and is going to pretend that he hit the ball and going to place it by the hole. He doesn't even care about putting up pretenses of not being a crook. And he's talking about third term or dictatorship and all this stuff. I appreciate your optimism, but I don't share it.
See, I think we'll have another election. Is whether or not we're going to have a fair election, because Russia has elections. North Korea has elections.
Right.
It's just a matter of whether or not they'll be fair and whether or not, like, my vote will count.
Yeah.
Well, look, that's a legitimate fear, and ever since they outlawed the Campaign Finance Reform Act, the influence of big money on politics has skyrocketed.
Right.
And so it may not be somebody stuffing the ballot box as much as it is dominating the airwaves and the social media with so many lies, half-truths, and attacks on somebody that the people will, much like the Russian people believe in Putin because the state TV tells them to, we'll have people believing one administration or one candidate over another because everybody's telling them to. And you look like an outsider or a malcontent if you go against the prevailing media tide.
Yeah, a couple of things on what you just said there, because there was a time in the 80s where I knew people from Russia and got to talk to them directly. And even in the late 90s, I knew some tech people there that I worked with. But first of all, we don't get to talk to a lot of Russians, so we don't really know what the average man on the street in Russia thinks of Putin. And if we did, I think they might be afraid to tell you what they really think and think, well, I'm just going to toe the safe thing to say here about Putin because they don't want to get thrown out of a window. So there's that part of it. So, but yeah, I think he modeled himself after that kind of dictator who, we'll put up a pretense of an election. It's just like I will go out on the golf course, even though I know it's predetermined that I'm the winner of the championship on my own course before I even step on there. It's kind of like that kind of thing.
I know when I was in high school in the 70s, we started a campaign to get newspapers from around the world, so that we could have them in high school. So like if you were studying Russia, you can actually see Russian newspapers. It practices your skill, but also gets you involved with the culture. So we started that program. Now it was based on it because it was not a funded program. It was something that we students started. The newspaper that we got was Pravda because that was free. Yeah. We couldn't get TASS because they charged for money. Now, for those who don't know anything about Russian culture, Pravda basically means propaganda, and TASS is truth. So we had to pay for truth, but we got propaganda for free. So
you get RT, Russian television, which is now the old Pravda, right? So basically, you can get it pumped into your house for free, Russian propaganda. So we're in the same place.
But it's interesting that Huey had most of the major newspapers of the time opposed Huey. And so his triumphs against the almost united opposition of the press seems to me to be more remarkable. Yeah. Because the big newspapers of the day were controlled by the very rich people that were in power that constituted the oligarchy of Louisiana.
Yeah. I want to talk about that in 1 minute. The state of media is something I'm concerned in, but let's talk about the book for a second. The book is out now. How long has the book been out?
Since February 15th.
Okay, so there's a link in the description. People can go to Amazon and order it today. Have you gotten a lot of? Obviously, everybody who puts anything on Amazon is going to get reviews. Have you got any? Not negative, but like politically charged opposition to, or people who are just angry at you for writing this book?
Not charged, or at least they've concealed it if they are charged up inside. I've gotten quite a few favorable reviews, in some from surprising places. The former Attorney General of Alabama, a man named Baxley, wrote to me and said it was, he enjoyed the book. He was the Attorney General of Alabama when they prosecuted the Birmingham church bombings. Wow. I got an email from nice guy named Brian Burke in Western Australia. And he is a collector of Huey Long memorabilia, had a political career of his own. And, of course, I liked him because he bought about 10 books, just asking me to sign them.
Wow.
Wow. Imagine that, a guy in Australia being really a big Huey Long fan. Go, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's surprising. But it just occurred to me that was a stupid question because obviously the people who are in the cult don't read books anyway. So they're not going to get angry.
The comics are smarter than the average person, so I wouldn't call you stupid. And I'm a dropout from the Second City Comedy Writing School, so I'm not going to call anybody stupid.
Well, so you're more successful than GD is. So congratulations!
No. They take anybody in the class. You have to work hard to drop out or have a day job.
Wow. It's interesting. I did not know you had a background in comedy, or at least an attempted background in comedy.
Long time ago.
Yeah. So the book has been out for a while now, and people can get it by going to Amazon. There's a shortened link in the description. Now, back to the state of the media, because Trump is out saying the New York Times, fake news, New York Times and CNN have teamed up against him to make him look bad. And so we've been having this fake news thing going on for 8-9 years now, since he started saying everybody who says anything against him is fake, and anybody who praises him is real. The new media section, how does that have changed our political, like the internet? They call it independent media, but it's still bought and sold by corporates. Like Joe Rogan is owned by Spotify, and it's hard to separate that influence of that big money coming. You're getting $120 million a year from somebody. You're not independent media all the time. Where do you think we are with the state of media and political discourse?
Yeah, I think we're still in a state of flux, plus or minus a few years. It's if you look at it from my perspective, in Huey's time, the newspapers were the leading media of the day. And so all the big city newspapers were contrary to Huey. Huey ended up starting his own newspaper, and he developed a system of circulars, handbills that he would have distributed to people's homes to counteract what he considered to be the lying newspapers. But at about this time, radio became interested as a medium and became more popular. And so at least at the beginning stages of radio, people were allowed to get on the radio, and they didn't have the censoring or the limiting effect of the big city press or the press that was owned by rich people like Cyrus McCormick in Chicago, so on. And so then you look at the Kennedy-Nixon debates, you had television replaced radio as a primary medium, and then Kennedy was a telegenic candidate and took advantage of that new medium, and he dominated that media through his press conferences. So now we've got social media, Twitter and all the rest of it that I can't even keep up with all the things, all the ways people can communicate. And so that permits people to evade, you can call it censoring or you can call it responsible vetting of the major media markets. And so then you have all these communication methods that people can just set up from their homes, and maybe they'll get traction and maybe they won't. And so you have you may have some more creative ideas out there. It might be a good time to be a creative person since there are so many outlets for your creativity. But on the other hand, you have all kinds of whack jobs that can have access to the major media, and they used to be excluded from that just because the CBS, NBC, and ABC considered themselves responsible.
Yeah.
So the censoring effect can be bad and it can be good. And it's hard to analyze which way we are. I think as the corporate oligarchs recognize the importance of social media, they are moving in now to dominate it. And so they sponsor Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk buys Twitter. And so they recognize the power of this unregulated media, and they are moving to go in and dominate it.
Yeah,
and so
unregulated. but it's still not uninfluenced. It's still not.
Right.
I mean, there are very few people, and this is. I think people need to be educated on this. If somebody is reading ads, and we are one of them. We play ads from sponsors. We are, in a way, beholden to those sponsors. We can't step. Now, our sponsors are the lowest dregs of the humanity. Thank you very much for your check. Yeah, we do. We appreciate the check, but let's. We're advertising sex dolls without heads. I mean, basically, who are we?
Primo stuff, but primo stuff.
But here's a way when people aren't reading ads, that's true independent media. If let's say they're on YouTube and they're the only ads you're seeing are the ones the algorithm feeds into their thing, they are not influenced by that. They are not beholden to any sponsors. That's how you know you're getting true independent media, true independent voices. They're not reading ads for anybody. They never had a conversation with a sponsor or any of that stuff. That's the only way.
Independent doesn't necessarily mean vetted and true, though. Just independent. That they just
right.
It depends on the consumer to have critical thinking skills.
Right.
Well, now we're screwed.
And if you've seen that George Carlin clip on American education, right? The corporate owners of America want you educated enough to run the machinery, but not enough to think about it.
Right. Yeah.
So
now, because Jon Stewart, just this morning, I was watching his clip about American resilience and how because you already kind of alluded to the idea that we've been through some really crazy times in the United States in my lifetime alone, but we always come out of it sort of okay. This feels different to me, and I'm just wondering, how do you maintain your optimism through all that crazy nonsense? Like last week, we thought we were on the verge of a serious, and we might be, World War III. But I mean, every day the news is just so crazy, and the news cycle goes by so fast that it's impossible to keep up with this stuff. How do you maintain your optimism in the face of just insane chaos every day, compounding on insane chaos?
Well, it's interesting. I'm reading a book now about the history of protests in the United States, and the protests that we've had, the extermination of indigenous Americans, obviously lynching in the South, but beating up and killing union organizers, and policemen being engaged by corporate entities to break up strikes. I mean, we've had tough times that we may not even think about before because we've gone past that. And so reading this book about these terrible events, I mean, I in a ways I don't like to read it because it's just too terrible.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I come out of it saying, well, if we survived union organizers getting killed, we should be able to survive this. But look, on the other side of the coin is the United States has been very lucky. I mean, notwithstanding the faults of the founding fathers, the talent, George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, Ben Franklin, Thomas Jefferson. I mean, the talent that coalesced at that time to create our Constitution was just amazing. And whatever faults, and there were some, of Abraham Lincoln, I mean, I think we were fortunate to have him at least able to articulate what he considered to be the corporate sin of slavery and reconciliation and the preeminence of the Declaration of Independence, even as preeminent over the Constitution of the United States. In other words, if you look at the Gettysburg Address, he said the founding document of this country was the Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution was just one tool trying to implement the ideals of the Declaration of Independence. And that was a radical notion at the time, recognized by conservatives and opposed by them at the time.
Right.
So look how lucky we were to have Lincoln arise at that time from a log cabin. I mean, that's like a biblical story.
It is.
Right. And then we had Theodore Roosevelt and Woodrow Wilson and Franklin Roosevelt, who I think had a lot more faults than people recognize. And then maybe after World War II, Dwight Eisenhower with and in my view, an underrated president, although I didn't really like anything done by the Dulles brothers. We seem to have been lucky at various times in our history, and eventually, is our luck going to run out?
Well, Eisenhower, he's one of, I think he was the last great president in my lifetime, and or probably the only one. And when I say in my lifetime, 3 months. I was born like 3 or 4 months before he left office, but I think he was unique in that. And I'm not saying this is necessary to be a president, but his time in leadership in the military prepared him for being very courageous in his decision making. Like, he had to come out against a guy who was a Republican in McCarthy. This was the head of the Republican Party saying, "Don't pay attention to this guy. This guy's a dangerous demagogue." That's a unique. You're not going to see that again, at least in my lifetime. So I hold him in high esteem on that stuff. You said Teddy Roosevelt, who's one of my heroes. I hope I don't ever learn about his faults. He's one of my heroes. I don't want to hear bad things about him, faults about him. But I don't think, because you mentioned all his talent, we're at a point now, and I'm wondering if you think Reagan was the start of this, where talent doesn't matter. It's personality that matters, and it's all about being a television star and all this or a media star. And I'm not sure if it started with Reagan or Kennedy or whatever, but it does seem like talent is not the reason, or even knowledge or education in public, in political science and public service and all this stuff doesn't matter anymore. It's all about the cult of personality.
I think you've hit on a point, and it relates to what I was describing earlier about the different forms of media. So Roosevelt dominated the radio in the 1930s with his fireside chats. Kennedy dominated television with his frequent news conferences. Reagan had all that experience with those General Electric weekly television shows and his acting career and so forth. And, his acting career gave him all kinds of anecdotes and funny stories and quips and things like that. It really equipped him to be a great communicator, which most people thought he was. And so without endorsing, and by the way, and Huey dominated the radio. He was the equal of Roosevelt as a radio communicator, and that helped him undermine the press of the day, which was unanimous against it. So he could go on the radio and convince me. He had 9 million people in the Share Our Wealth Society program as of 1935, when, say, 20 million votes could conceivably carry a presidential election. All right. So then to resume Reagan, then whatever you think of Trump, Trump dominates the social media of his time. He tweets, he tweets, he tweets, he tweets. Nobody keeps up with him. And that's a problem. I mean, I would say Colbert is the only guy who keeps up with Trump, or maybe Kimmel, right? They're the only people that keep up with Trump, that day in, day out, they have a response to what Trump is doing. No politician does.
It's exhausting. It's totally exhausting.
One of Huey's opponents, a guy named Harry Gamble, said that Huey's he said he thought Huey lied all the time. And so he said it's like you're taking the pillow up to a skyscraper and you're opening the pillow and all the feathers are coming out. And it's impossible to rebut all this blizzard of pillow feathers that represent lies that he thought Huey told. And I don't think he was correct about that, but I get the point. And Trump, let's say you think Trump is telling the truth. Now, whatever it is, he's got a blizzard of events. And so one event will bury any misstep he made the day before. And what Democratic politician is keeping up with him? What Republican opponent of Trump is keeping up with him? And so I think that we are looking at not only the characteristics of Donald Trump, but you may be looking at the evolution of the presidential function. What is the president's job? It might not be to sit in the Oval Office and read studies about poverty or read intelligence briefings about the latest development in the Middle East. It might be just a communicative function.
Just to make people feel good about what's going on,
and to try to lead people into his or her preferred direction to go. Wow. And so you then look at that and you say, well, maybe Biden either was incapable of doing it or didn't recognize that that was the new function of a president, because he never dominated the media during the 4 years of his presidency, and he had every opportunity to. Maybe he didn't have the ability to, but he had the opportunity and he didn't do it. And so the country was reclaimed by Trump, who, with revisionist history about the history of COVID, about, you know, the chaos that existed during the previous 4 years, people forgot about it.
Yeah.
Now, I think you'd mentioned like a little while ago, well, Matt asked why this feels different. In my opinion, this feels different because a lot of the people who did the protesting back then are now older, much older, you know, now. And I mean, the avid protesters, the ones that, you know, were willing to be water hosed and willing to be beaten and stuff like that. And they were gotten old. And some of them to the point where it's like, we've had this fight. We've won this fight. Well, I'm tired of this fight. And the children aren't growing up with the same fervor. Now, I feel a little bit optimistic because at the last No Kings rally, I live in an area that is like probably 80% Republican, but there were hundreds of people, and a lot of them were less than half my age. I'm 66. A lot of them were less than half my age. Now, I don't know how well informed they are, as opposed to how much they're just protesting what they see, but at least they're on the precipice of getting engaged. I don't know how much fight they have in them. You know,
and like I don't know whether they can sustain it. Can they sustain it until the midterm elections, which are more than a year away?
Yeah,
right. And that's what's to be seen, whether or not it's sustainable. I mean, because when I was growing up, civil rights was like not just a thing; it was like affecting our lives and our livelihood, and it was important that. It was important that I got involved in marches as a child. It was important that I got involved in marches as a teenager, because that was my life that I was trying to affect. Now my life is almost over by most standards. Yeah, by most standards.
Well, hopefully.
And I think the Vietnam War affected so many people, or threatened to affect so many people, that swelled the numbers of protests. And that, I think, makes the No Kings protest in some ways more impressive.
Yeah.
But remember Trump's
I think that's why we never had the draft come back. I think that's why they went from a draft to selective service, you know, because they knew if they brought the draft back, it's like, whoa, we're out of here. That's it.
Yeah.
I think we if we end up in a major war again, they're going to have to, though. I don't see any, you know, wars are fought different now, but I don't see any way of engaging in a real world conflict without forcing people to join, because nobody's going to want to join. Anyway, that's a whole other story.
You know what Einstein said? I don't know how the Third World War is going to be fought, but I know the Fourth World War is going to be fought with sticks and stones.
That's right. Probably right. So, yeah, it's been a pleasure to have you here. And the book is called American Populist, Huey Long of Louisiana. And it is a... Do you feel like you've kind of, I don't know, resurrected his reputation in any way with your retelling of the story?
Well, I hope I've resurrected interest in him, because I think he proposes a unique solution to economic inequality that nevertheless preserves capitalism.
Yeah.
And I think that he applied the social movement and revolution theories without naming that as such.
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't know a lot about Huey Long, but everything I've ever heard about him was negative. It was kind of like a guy, he was a crook, he was a bad guy, and I didn't come away with that, at least what I know about your book so far, I didn't come away with that, the impression that he's a bad guy. And I will say this, I have said for a long time, capitalism is not the problem. It's unregulated capitalism. Capitalism run amok without any guardrails is the problem. Capitalism has provided a lot of solutions for society, and a lot of good things have come out of it. But what happens when you just take all the guardrails off is you get the John D. Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts, and you get robber barons. And that's, sadly, I think that's where we're headed now.
Well, maybe you should reach the office.
Yeah,
it's possible that Huey Long was a bad bad-ish guy with good-ish intentions.
All right. What if he was a goodish guy with baddish? Oh, no. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you've got the old question of do the ends justify the means? You've got that presented here. And you've got one of the themes of the book is, look, we need to stop putting people in these boxes of good or evil. I mean, Huey was generally regarded as a genius, and he proposed creative solutions to problems, and he overcame amazing obstacles to get his program adopted in Louisiana. He didn't promise things that he failed to deliver. He delivered on what he promised and more. But there's no question. I detail the faults and foibles that he had there. And I tried to explain that, look, Roosevelt, as great as we think he is, also had some faults. He weaponized the IRS and the FBI. He politicized relief expenditures. I mean, one historian called it the dark side of the Roosevelt presidency.
Right.
But I think let's look at things with the open eyes, kind of the mosaic of good and bad that we all have.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
To be fair, there's only been one human who has never had any faults, and that would be me. So.
Oh, we got two then, because I'm not handling it also.
No, that's a mistake, and that's your fault.
Yeah, well, I agree. So it's 3-1.
All right. Final question: do you still maintain it was good to be with us here this morning?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. If you invite Dwayne back, have me on then. I'd love to talk to all of you and Dwayne about creativity.
I'm pretty sure we are going to have Dwayne back. He was very complimentary of the way we treated him and the experience he had here. So we probably will be having him back.
I could tell you guys are pretty excited to talk to him. That was the energy came out.
I was. They don't.
He was. Matt was really excited. I like to wait to find out what the person is like. I don't get excited about anybody until.
Let me just stop him right there, because he was when I first found out about Dwayne, I sent GD a link and he said, "Get him on the show." That was his...
right.
He just had questions about his dreads.
I'll show you the text.
I probably say get him on the show. Like, you want him? Sure, get him on the show. Like that. Like, get him on the show. Not like, get him on the show. No.
I think you did. I think I heard you say, get him on the show.
That's in the text. I'm not sending you any more texts. I'm going to send you recordings from now on, so you hear the nuances in my voice.
Let's be kind to Thomas and let him out of this nonsense. Thomas, thank you very much for being part of the show. We wish you great success with the book. And if you want to come back at some time and just give it a second push, well, the door's open to you. We appreciate your time.
Oh, that's great. Well, thanks again for having me on. I enjoyed myself.
Bye for now.
All right.
You're great.
Amazon, it's down there. You can see what's going across that link.
Amazon.2/
Yeah, go get the book. You got to buy the book. You got to buy the book.
Got to buy the book.
Do you get these daily things from Amazon about you're not using all your credits, all your benefits for being an Amazon member? I get this every day. I never look into it. I
was given a gift card for Amazon, which is still sitting. I put it in the account. It's still sitting there. I keep thinking I want to use it to
get Steven a microphone.
No, Prime Video. Is that it?
Prime, yeah.
So do that membership, because I want to catch up on The Boys and Invincible. Those are the only two things on Amazon I think that I want to watch.
The only things on there worth watching right now.
Yeah.
No.
So I haven't activated it because I'm going to need to binge watch those things.
Fuck these two bastards. Fuck them. That's what I'm saying. Fuck them. They're saying that's all that's worth watching on Amazon Prime. Obviously, you've not heard.
I didn't say that's all that was worth. I said there's only two things.
No, that's what he said.
Yeah, but you said bastards.
So fuck that pedophile joke thief.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. I kind of miss calling you all those.
There's a little sign up. That says. Many days without calling Steven a name.
Pedophile, joke thief, cuck, Amish.
Once it gets to one, he knows his list is like 1 day without. No, okay. 0 days without insulting Steven.
It's just got a permanent 0. It's just a permanent marker. Just
gotta have a goose egg. If it gets a 1, he's like, oh fuck, I missed a day. Now I gotta make up for it.
Got your tongue?
I don't.
Matt got your tongue. Matt got your tongue.
No. I forgot what the fuck was that? Because he just distracted me completely. He just fucked me up on this.
Just by making a big zero thing. Wax on. Wax off.
Yeah. So where are we? Where are we? That's what I want to know.
I'm in Indiana.
I'm in Maryland.
You're in Long Island, and he's in Maryland.
Yeah, I know physically where we are. Are we on the? Is World War III called off now? Is it if you have your tickets? There's a rain date.
I did want to mention something. I did want to mention something about Donald Trump. I know I don't say enough good things about him. He reminded me of an open micer the other day. You know how a poor open micer, a really bad open micer, does not have good material or anything to contribute, so they start cussing.
I reject the idea that there's such a thing as a bad open micer. I think they're all fabulous.
So you get an open micer and the guy has no material, he has nothing to say, he's really wasting your time on stage, but he has an audience, so he starts using cuss words to fill in for what would be worthwhile material. And I think that's what Trump did. He was talking and he realized I got nothing. So he says, the fucking minds, knowing that will take, precedent over anything else that he wasn't saying. So it was like he was a bad comedian at a bad open mic.
I think he said they don't know what the fuck they're doing, right? They don't.
The
quote was they don't know that they've been fighting for so long that they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, the point is, a more erudite person could have made the same statement with real words without being so stupid. Trump, being an ignorant person who has, like I said, he's looking for entertainment value, not for solutions. Like I said, he's a bad open micer, a bad comedian at an open mic who has no material, so he starts cussing, hoping that will be enough.
Us comedians, that's not nice.
So, are you telling?
I'm a humorist, so I don't care.
Yeah, this is a fucking cop out.
Humorist at an open mic. I got it. Okay.
What is this? Are you trying to tell me?
No.
I hope you're not trying to tell me this.
I'm not.
That gas is not $1.98.
Fuck no, it ain't.
Gas is $1.98 for the first half of the gallon. After that, it's market price.
I paid $3.12 a gallon 2 days ago.
Right. I don't get it. How can people?
This is what probably happened. This is the only thing I can think of. At some places you get reward points. So whatever, like I get, my wife and I, we have reward points at Giant, or we can use it for gas. We can use it for groceries or gas. We usually use it for groceries because she has a Prius and I have an an electric hybrid. So we don't use that much gas per se. But if we were to use our bonus or our rewards points for gas, I could pump gas and it'd be like $1.98, and I could take a picture of the pump saying my price is $1.98 a gallon, and then Trump, being the kind of idiot he is, to go like, gas is $1.98 in Westminster.
You're welcome. I did that to your gas.
Right, and it's not that he did that to the gas. My wife and I did that by spending a lot of money on groceries, getting rewards points that we could use for gas.
I made the grocery expensive, so your gas is $1.98. You're welcome.
But here, this is the baffling part of me. Obviously, I don't think anybody took a picture. It would be thrilling.
I'm just saying, that's the only thing. I'm just trying to say, if it was a legitimate thing, that's the only way to make it legitimate.
See, the thing is, if you lie to me,
right,
I don't trust you the next thing you say. Like,
right.
These people who just fucking continue to trust in Trump, they've seen a million instances where they know he's fucking lying.
Right.
But they still trust him on everything he says. Like, it's my. Right. If I did that to you, if I told you if I told you I wasn't going to come in your mouth, and then I did, you'd never trust me
I would never trust me because what the fuck were you doing in my mouth to begin with? Fuck you, fuck me. Oh, I'm worried about me now.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, I trust you to stick your dick in any available hole.
I've been using that analogy for 30 years. You're the first person to point that out, so congratulations. But I mean, really, how many times do I have to come in your mouth before you figure out that I'm a fucking liar? That's the point.
First of all, no, Steven, answer that question because I don't have an answer for that.
I don't have an answer.
I'm more concerned about my choices now.
Right. What accolade do we get if we get a? Oh no, that's an old one, right?
I trust Matt to stick his dick in any available hole. I don't trust that hole should be in my mouth. That hole should be in my face. No.
These fucking same people keep calling over and over again. It's like
breaking news.
I thought it was breaking news, and then it disappeared. It says Steven is a fat, floppy-titted potato. Now I don't know potatoes to have tits to begin with, so floppy-titted potato is a strange phrase to me. Floppy-titted potato-looking wannabe Amish motherfucker that can't grow hair on his upper lip because his estrogen is too high. There's a lot to unpack there.
If you watch the Tantally ad, you'll see that I have a mustache. So.
Tantally, does that rhyme with
moving product? Steven is moving product. Steven is trying to move product.
Steven actually, he must want me to piss in his mouth because he just said the word I told him not to say. Rhymes with Tantally. But I just tricked him. Now I promise I won't piss in your mouth.
Damn it.
On the Amish thing, there's a video going around with these like 100 Amish guys moving a barn. Have you seen this video?
Well, Ron sent it to me. I refused to open it.
Oh, well, it's all over Facebook and all this stuff. They're picking up a barn and walking, which is impressive, but this has been going on forever. I mean, you get this is how the pyramids were built, right? They've got a bunch of Amish guys.
Exactly what I was going to say. That's the Amish built the pyramids.
Right. But
it would have been done in 2 days, not
the thing nobody brings up in this video. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm stupid.
Probably
go ahead. I'm not going to argue. Go ahead.
I know. I was waiting for some
we were both like, anyway.
Yeah, so go on.
There are trucks and cars and television and video cameras. These are not real Amish people. Why would they have a driveway full? Where'd all these fucking trucks come if these are Amish? If real Amish people, there would be horses. There'd be horses and buggies.
Also, they could be tourists.
Well, actually, in Amish country here, also, there are vans that go and pick up the Amish and take them to work instead of them taking the horse and buggy.
Wow. So I thought they rejected anything like that. They won't drive technology out of my face. That's not in the book.
I think some of it. I think they're not allowed to own. Like in some cases, they're not allowed to own the technology.
Not allowed to own or operate it. So they can, for example, they can ride along. They just couldn't be the driver, for example.
So you guys accept it that this isn't like just some fucking stage thing for the internet.
I've seen the video, and that layout is very common here. Like for example, we have an Amish couple that lives across the street. Okay. But he also owns a business, so they're not old order.
Are there electric lights in this business?
In the business, yes, but not at their home.
He's not real Amish.
No, he's Mennonite. No, like I said, they're Mennonite now.
Mennonite.
They were old order Amish. They didn't used to. Like they still don't have electricity at home, but they do have a garage full of tractors and trucks.
I bet you they have a better microphone than you do. Or a better mic technique. I'm not buying it. I think it's a TikTok. If people went out and said, you know what, let's pick up the house. We'll film it. We'll go viral. We'll make money.
For example, like around here, if there's a house being built, if they hire Amish people, you'll have Amish people there working on the house, and there'll still be trucks and everything, and they may not be connected to them at all. Those could have just been contractors showing up once they moved the barn to help get it situated and passing down.
Yeah, because we have places around here that actually sell Amish sheds and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure the people where the property is, they are not Amish. That they just went and picked up the products that the Amish built and they're selling them there.
What is because I'm thinking this would be a really good prank if we could get enough Amish dudes to cooperate. While somebody's at work one day, just have somebody pick their house up and move it.
Around here, there's a lot of modular homes, so that's probably doable.
Yeah, so, the modular homes you can do it.
I didn't get it off the foundation. Like, why would you put it as a prank? Just like a
That's
couple
a lot
of yucks.
Fucking work for a prank, it's just
Well, I'm not doing the lifting.
Even to organize such a thing, it's
but it would. Don't you agree? It would make a good punked like a viral video that people would. Oh, look! These people came home and went to put their key in the air.
It would be easier to surround the house with mirrors to make it look like it was gone than to just move the house.
The David Copperfield effect.
Right, the David Copperfield. Just surround the house with mirrors so it looks like the people holy shit, where's the house? And they're like, that would be easier than to get all these people to move the fucking house. Because then you got to move it back. Well, I guess you don't have to.
You don't have to move it back. Hey, you're on your own now. We did our part. We
got the video in the left. The rest is up to you.
Yeah. It just seems like a good thing to do, a fun thing to do, as long as I'm not doing the heavy lifting. Why? Why not? Why not?
I mean, if I had that kind of money, I would hire like a great illusionist to make my neighbor's house look like it disappeared. So when he came home from work, he'd be like, "What the fuck did my house go?" If I had that kind of money, I think that'd be hilarious.
He'd be checking his GPS, like, "Well, what do you need GPS? You're going home. You don't need a fucking GPS."
Or make it so that our street disappears. So he's like, "Wait a minute, I should turn here. What the fuck? There's no, that would be funny."
Yeah. We're all about funny here. Just let's be funny.
I don't have that kind of money right now. I'm trying to decide whether to spend $30 on a drum stool, or more earbuds. Because I can't spend the money.
Why don't you just sit on the earbuds? Wait, I don't. What you got a choice between earbuds and a drum stool?
I'm just saying.
First of all, let's not call it a stool anymore, please.
Drum kit topper.
It's called the throne.
No, the throne is in the bathroom. I call the toilet the throne.
Yeah, but if you go to a music store, you say drum throne. Because if you say drum stool, you'll get a bunch of fucking stool sample jokes, and you don't want to open yourself up to that. I'm just saying.
The store I go into wouldn't be so bad because I'm used to them laughing at my jokes, so I can take some of theirs in return. Sure.
What if they actually include a stool sample? Hold on, get him the stool sample.
It depends on which employee is offering it, I guess.
Yeah, well, it'll be a stinky experience.
One of them's a vegan, and I think their quality of poop would be a little bit. I think they would have like wombat type poop, little square cubes that don't roll around.
I'm just curious
why wombats have square poop.
No, why you've studied wombat poop.
Kind of common knowledge, I thought, because I thought everybody knew that.
Well, you two guys are apparently wombat poopologists, because I've never seen a wombat.
We have enough guests from down under that we have like assimilated the culture.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm flabbergasted here. Wombat poop.
I said square, but it's actually cube because it's 3-dimensional.
There's also a coffee that is made from the seeds that are pooped out from an animal.
Yeah, Bearcat coffee.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're being serious now, aren't you?
100%.
Oh yeah.
It's super expensive. It's considered top shelf coffee.
It's super expensive. It's
not in my house.
The animals, the Bearcats eat the berries, and the coffee bean itself is not digested, but it is fermented inside the body with the poop, and it comes out, and people scoop up the poop and get the fermented coffee beans out, and they make Bearcat poop coffee. And Matt is googling it, going, "I don't know." But in this world of AI, I don't know.
It's a real thing. I've seen Gordon Ramsay drink it. I've seen Anthony Bourdain drink it. I've seen it on Good Mythical Morning.
Aren't they all dead? All those people you named.
Well, we didn't say that Bearcat coffee didn't kill you. We just said they drank it.
Yeah, we just said it's a thing.
You got to pay extra for the stuff that kills you.
It doesn't kill you. It's a super popular coffee.
It's like arsenic. Arsenic in small amounts will cure some things, but in large amounts will permanently make sure you don't need to be cured from anything else ever again.
All right, who's our guest tomorrow? Do you remember?
Person.
I can't remember his name. I got to figure out his name, but he's a director, a storyboard artist.
Dylan Coburn.
Yeah, Dylan Coburn.
Second hour.
Yeah, that scared GD away when I said.
Where'd he go?
What I say that scared him away? Let's see if he can let him.
GD, where are you?
Let him figure out how to put himself back in the room. What happened? I said
I did something very, very stupid. When you asked me who was on the show, I have two windows open and I clicked on the wrong one. And so I clicked on the window that would take me to the home of the studio. And once I got there, it bumped me out.
All right. So Dylan Coburn, another chance for us. I don't know what movies he's directed, but it's another chance for us to
not get picked in the movie.
I'm more. I passed the first test for one. I got to do my introduction video today, introducing why I would be a good mafia guy. Can you guys think of anything I should say as to why I would make a good mafia guy?
Well, whatever you do, don't quote The Godfather because everybody quotes Godfather and Goodfellas. So I'm thinking if you're doing a thing for a mafia movie, show them how you would be a good member of the Jewish mafia that Jesus ran. You know, with the 12 guys, those 12 guys that he ran around with.
Hey, Judas, forget about it.
Yeah, Judas. Hey, Judas, get me some fishes and some loaves. Hey, Judas. I got some bootleg wine here. I want people to think I made it out of water.
Judas is a rat. You'll find out.
That's right. Judas, you ratted me out. You son of a bitch. You ratted me out. I'm not going to go down alone. I'm going to take all you motherfuckers with me.
Listen, I know you guys are very lamely attempting comedy here, but it seems to me you might have hit on something. I don't know, a Jesus mob movie. Because Judas was a fucking rat, wasn't he? I mean, there's a way to play this up. It's like a Jesus Godfather type of.
If I were to do it, I would really do it tongue in cheek, and it would have to be like a series of shorts on on TikTok or something. You know, where like Jesus is singing at the Last Supper, and one of the disciples come up to him and goes, "Jesus, we need a favor." That Jesus be like, "You coming to me on the day of my Last Supper, asking for a favor?" No, that kind of thing. I would do like Godfather script using Jesus characters.
Instead of calling Mary Magdalene, just call her Maggie.
Yeah. Oh, Mal. Well, I call her Mags. I mean, that's what my guitarist name Mags. Yeah, I call her Mags.
Yeah.
And if any of you'd seen my first special, which apparently Blind Mike saw more of than you have combined, you know, you'd have known that I call Mary Magdalene Mags.
You have a special out?
It's like Paulie.
Not that special.
Would Judas be like Paulie in The Godfather? Like
I didn't see The Godfather. I don't know what the fuck that means.
What a fucking lame thing to say. Just that sentence. I didn't see The Godfather.
I've seen Godfather. Come on, Jesus.
I didn't see it. Okay, I've seen parts of it. I don't know who Paulie is.
Paulie is
the cracker.
Paulie was the driver. No, Paulie was the Godfather's driver who called in sick the day they attempted to hit on the Godfather, and then Sonny said, "Paulie, he sold the old man out. I don't want him. I don't want to see him no more." And then leave the gun, take the cannoli. That was Paulie getting whacked for ratting him out. Paulie he was a rat. He was a sellout.
And that's the other thing we do is once Jesus is gone, then you have the disciples fighting over who's going to take over the operation.
Right. So I'm just thinking that scene with how Judas. Oh, Judas won't see him no more. Like that, the old Clemenza deal. And who would be?
Yeah. So I would work with somebody. Sure, I would work with someone on a TikTok rendition of Jesus as a mafia boss.
So I'm thinking you guys are onto something. Write it up. Get your final copy of final draft and write the screenplay.
Because I have to watch The Godfather again.
Have it to me by Thursday at 2 p.m.
I have to watch more than a scene in the beginning where he goes, "You come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding." I have to watch like 3 because I've seen that. Like I said, I've done parodies of The Godfather, but I've only watched the scenes that I'm parodying, not the whole thing.
All right. Can I count on you guys for your support tonight? I have a show that I'm very nervous.
I will watch, but I'm not going to log in. I'll watch.
I didn't want you to log in. But if you could be in the chat room and give me your moral support and say,
so you can ignore me like you did last time you needed my moral support.
Comforting things to me and just like, there, it's going to be okay, nice fella.
Like you're going to be actually paying attention to us. Be like, yeah, you're going to be, God, see, every time he does it, my camera gets all crazy because my camera does this automatic white balance. It's just like he throws all the coloring off. My camera's like, whoa, well,
I thought I was watching Egghead. This is the Egghead movie. All of a sudden,
Vincent Price.
Yeah. See, I'm glad his mic doesn't work.
His mic works as well as his penis.
So I won't lie to you. I won't lie to you. I'm not going to come in your mouth, mate. But I'm going to be a little nervous tonight with this. I did it to myself. I do this to myself all the time. I set
masturbation?
Huh?
When you do it to yourself, isn't that masturbation?
Not necessarily. It could be could be suicide. Could be.
But isn't that masturbation also?
I don't think so.
You're trying to get yourself off, and you just off yourself. Sounds the same. Now it's just semantics, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty much semantics at that point. Yeah.
So we have no guest scheduled for Friday, though, and we were hoping Stephen would come through. And when I say come through, I mean come through with one of his porn star circle of connections. Because I don't know if you know this about Stephen, but he's the #1 porn booker
in the industry.
Today. Yeah, here right now is what I was going to say.
Okay. I thought you were going to say something nice about him.
No,
we'd have like.
Well, he's a failure at booking these porn people. The only thing he's able to do really is get women that he wants to have sex with on the show to say, "Oh, you're a comedian."
You think he doesn't want to have sex with the porn people?
No.
Oh.
He prefers watching them and using his hand.
Oh, okay.
I can take that link out, right? I can take that out.
No, I just prefer low mileage models. It's just
Ooh, but isn't mileage subjective? Like for example, back in the day, back when Matt started driving, low mileage cars were like 10,000 miles because the car only lasted for like 70,000. And then cars started lasting like 100,000 miles. So 50,000 was low mileage. Now a good car can go up like 250 to 300,000 miles, depending on how you take care of it.
Yeah,
and
but
so
you're
low
talking
mileage is like 100,000.
You're talking a 25 to 35, 40, 45-year-old vehicle. So
yeah, see, so I'm talking about, like I said, it was like the analogy I use is like, I never asked my wife how many men she'd been with. I just want to know if you laid the penises end to end, how long would it be? You know, it's
200 miles.
So and in my wife's case, I think it's 20 feet, which means I've already exceeded that 20 feet.
So 8 p.m. tonight, catch me with Karen Jonas, and we'll talk about. I don't know. How do
8 p.m. Damn. Can you change that? Can you change that time? I got something to do at 8. Can you make it 8:30, 9 o'clock?
I can't do that. But how do I?
Or won't? It's your show.
No, I can't.
It's your show.
Yeah, but she's already rescheduled once. I don't want to lose her. So no.
How about delay? Can you do like?
How do I broach it? Because I want to talk about the. There wasn't much to say with my mouth around his dick. I want to broach that subject, but I don't know. Like, is there a?
Sure. You just say, I want to address something that you recently wrote, and then here you go.
I just want to tell her that the minute I wrote that, I got excited, but I also got scared. Like,
okay, then in that case, then I can't help you because I'm a professional. I'm a professional. You know, I can't stoop to these levels.
So if you're on a podcast and listen, we know you've been in that situation with your mouth around a dick, and somebody brought up that you had clearly expressed how much you enjoyed having a mouth around a dick.
First of all, it was my mouth and my dick, so there wasn't a lot of enjoyment as much as it was scientific and experimentation.
But so somebody brings that up. Do you
data.
think, why you bring now? Why would she send me that if she didn't want me to kind of talk about that? Right? I don't know. I'm scared.
Maybe do we know that she even meant to send it to you? I mean, I don't know. For all I know, she could have been meaning to send it to someone else, like maybe Matt Nisanoff.
Oh no,
right next to Matt Nepo.
No,
I mean, I've done that before. I've texted Matt Nisanoff stuff that I meant to text you because your names are right next to each other.
Yeah, no, this was about our program Wednesday night. Here's some stuff for prep in the title and a whole letter that came with it. So, no, she meant to send it.
Then you can ask the same thing that I ask people. It's like this is the clip we're looking at. Is there a reason why you picked this clip, or is this clip indicative of something? Blah blah blah. No, I don't know. I guess the difference between you and I, Matt, is that I have a more of an erudite approach to
erudite. That's just the second or third time you've used that word on this program.
I use it 7 times a week. Okay, probably 3 times a week on this show.
No, I've never heard you say it before on this show, except today was the first time you lost your erudite virginity on this show.
I use it quite frequently on the show. Usually when I refer to my humor, it's erudite.
Listen, I'm not going to come in your mouth.
And also aerodynamic. Again. It's erudite and aerodynamic.
I won't come in your mouth again. But I'm not apologizing for the last time I did it, which was right before we went on air this morning. So
I have to write a poem for this birthday card.
Well, that's what I was going to say. There's a homework assignment here today. If you and this is for everybody listening to the sound of my voice, which is nobody. Write a poem. Could be a limerick. Could be a haiku that rhymes cynic with dick, because they don't really rhyme, right? Cynic and dick.
If you're going to rhyme cynic, you would have to have another word in front of dick to continue it, I would think.
Pin dick.
Like thin dick. No, cynic.
Pin dick.
Pin dick. Yeah, thin dick. In dick.
Yeah. You know. All right, so that's the assignment.
Or you could do the slight pause. You could go like syndic and then the indicative.
I just have a feeling everybody's going to say the dog ate their homework tomorrow when I ask for the limericks or.
No, I'm not going to say the dog ate my homework because I have a cat. I'm going to say the cat shat my homework.
With its pindick?
No, cat shat in French.
Cat rhymes with
el gato.
Cat doesn't rhyme with dick. Cat doesn't rhyme with dick. Cat dick.
No, but a cat doesn't give a dick about your little silly problems.
Oh,
Stephen, I'm begging you. I'm begging you, Stephen.
Okay.
He wants you to say the words. You know.
Oh, don't forget to turn on your radio.
Coming for you!
Are you high right now? Are you high right now?
me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now.